Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. Landon Schmidt producing. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 3 hours. So much to get into today with the brackets finally out. Selection Sunday last night. We got to talk a ton about it. The Tigers, they won another AAC championship. So it was a fun day for the Tigers and got rewarded with a 5 seed. So we'll talk all about that, what the Tigers did, what the selection show turned out to be, the takeaways from that. We also got to talk Grizzlies as they're back in action tonight against the Sacramento Kings. So plenty to get to over these next 3 hours. But Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing great. Happy birthday to you. Happy
Thank
St.
you.
Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Everybody got on green? Yeah,
right.
good.
Is Landon got green on it?
Green from you there, bud.
I don't know. I can't see
I
it.
legally can't show you.
Yes.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
Somebody check.
Yeah, no.
Won't be me.
I'm going to pass, but it is the day after. This used to be National Hot Take, Outrage, Incense, Mad at the World Monday. 68 teams took a lot of that out, from 64 to 68.
Yeah, sure.
I guess there's one or two out there that can make a case, but just like any snub, like All-Star Game snub in any sport, to put someone in, who are you taking out?
Well, a lot of people would tell you North Carolina this year.
I said last week, 22-win North Carolina is not being left out.
No.
You can go to all the conspiracy about Bubba Cunningham and all the conspiracy about in the room, out of the room. That's all gobbledygook, whether you're actually there when they're talking. And just like in the football committee with the royal abomination of a job that Hunter Yurachek did, how can the SEC rep always excuse himself when the SEC's coming up?
Right.
Because the SEC and the Big Ten's the sport.
That's right.
How can the ACC tournament chair excuse himself when his team or other ACC teams are coming up?
Yeah.
Because even in this historic down year for the ACC, it's still one of the real linchpins of the sport.
That's right. Yeah. No.
So he spent more time out in the hallway, if we believe that, that they're always checking out when their team – and what is the formality of – as the chair, I must step out because we're discussing whether Wake Forest or whomever should be in, and he gets up and leave, and they ring a bell and he comes back in when the discussion's over. Nobody believes that. Nobody believes that. Now, I tell you who does believe that is that NCAA university culture of all the symposiums they've been to on every topic, every subject you can think of, they really believe they're that highbrow.
Of course.
Nobody else does.
No, unfortunately not.
And it's been a TV show forever. North Carolina's been magical TV ratings forever.
They're blue blood.
And I would say through the years, with the interest they've created with that mega program they have, and the money they've made, okay, we'll give them a little pass.
Sure, why not?
And they're not going to be around for long. They may not make it out of Dayton.
No.
They're playing a team that was in the Final Four 2 years ago.
That's right.
In Dayton.
That's right. And we've seen how things can change from just 2 years ago. I mean,
but you used to, and Seth Greenberg kind of became famous at Virginia Tech for being left at the altar. He was a good coach at Long Beach State. I remember when he was there and would played the Tigers some in the regular season. I know they played in late February of '95 because I was there and my seat was right behind his bench when he got tossed.
Love that.
And I know the magic words he used, and I can't use them or I'd get tossed.
Well.
And he used them and he was gone at the Pyramid that night. But he became famous for always being left out in doing the Sunday night bracketology show.
Of course.
Irate. He's really good on TV. He's my favorite ESPN college basketball personality, kind of for those talk shows. But adding Dayton took a lot of starch out of that. And I look at this bracket, I don't have a single complaint.
Yeah. My only complaint is Xavier. I don't know how in the world Xavier got in. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's 68 teams.
Who you put in? Take them out, who you slide in?
I'd probably put in West Virginia. Here's the thing, and I've been saying
they won at Lawrence
for a month. Sure, they won there. They beat Iowa State. I mean, they have some good wins. I think 6 quad one wins on the season. But I mean,
this didn't play great down the stretch.
No, and this bubble was terrible. I mean, you were going to get a bad team in there, probably a couple, and we got a couple bad teams in there, teams that shouldn't be in the.
I wish we would eliminate Dayton.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad this year. This year,
am I going to watch? Yes, I'm going to watch the next Tuesday night. Yes, I am.
Of course,
but I don't even factor them into my bracket.
No.
So what is the bracket protocol for those teams?
Well, that's a good question.
Because I had
just talking about it.
I had one that one time he advocated that it's kind of like at the track when you take horse 1 and 1A. If either hit, you get paid. No. You either take Texas or you take Xavier. But you can't say, well, I've got them both, and if they advance.
Right. You can't just
agree or disagree?
I'd agree with that, I think. Yeah.
Like better case, San Diego State, North Carolina. If you think either of them or both of them will beat Ole Miss, you don't get to put both of those down. You got to tell me the one that's advancing.
Yeah.
Don't you?
I think so. I think that's fair. Because I mean, you're right. I mean, you can just write down. I mean, heck, again, like San Diego State, North Carolina. One of those teams was in the Final Four 2 years ago. One of them's a blue blood.
One of them's in 4 years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
Hubert Davis, his first year.
You got to think, they can play.
Right.
And so, I mean,
2 Final Four coaches.
Sure, if you just said, all right, give me one of them, and just, tried to take both of them.
I thought it came out, and not just because my league got 14. And I missed badly with early season predictions on it. When Joe Lenardi kind of first started offering that many, I said, that's heat of the moment stuff.
Yeah.
It'll play out. The SEC was able to thread the needle. We'll never be able to pull this off again.
No.
We'll never. It was almost like it wasn't, but it was almost like it was scripted. Right, this week we really need OU to win, and that doesn't kill the other one.
Right.
And it props them up. Early days of Nashville even played out like that.
Yeah, it really did. You're right about that. I mean, some of those results that you looked at, you're like, man, I did not see that coming, but that certainly helps out, Team X. And it played out, and kudos to the SEC.
Ole Miss really needed the win over Tennessee.
Yeah.
I don't know. They played 10 more times. They played in the Hugh Freeze Invitational. I don't know if they could win again against Tennessee.
Hugh Freeze Invitational. That's great. I love that. A lot of invitationals. It's invitational season.
It is.
Throw some teams in the Hugh
Did we
Freeze
get a crown bracket?
We did this morning. Don't ask me who's in it.
I won't. Thanks.
But it's there. You can go find it somewhere. We also got NIT and CBI. I mean, oh, man.
Is that all the other ones?
Yeah.
Crown, CBI,
and NIT.
No College Insiders?
I don't think so.
That's the one to play 2 out of 3, isn't it?
I believe so.
So that would go against all the teams can only lose one more time.
That's bingo.
You could lose twice there.
That is exactly right. So I haven't seen anything for CIT, and I think people were saying that they heard it was not coming back again this year. Shame. But
what a weekend for the Tigers.
What a weekend. I mean, it really was.
Close games?
Sure.
It's part of it, winning in advance.
That's right. We talked about it with Arkansas last week. I mean,
it's the old golf term. We're not drawing pictures anymore.
That's right.
This isn't about style points anymore. This is about survival.
That's right. And
Tigers
did
survived.
exactly that. Yeah.
And earned what they got.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
nothing handed to them.
I was shocked. I mean, completely floored when they got announced as a 5 seed.
Floored.
I mean, just could not believe it. Could not believe it.
I'm leaving the Ole Miss Arkansas baseball game, and it's about 5:20. And I'm rolling through trying to find Jason Munns. And my knees buckled. I went, 5?
Well, see, it was the final region that was announced last night on the selection shows.
It might have been later than 5:20 because that last region.
Well, and they got done with it very early, so it probably was around that time. And so they announced Florida. They announced Norfolk State. I go, oh, no, here comes the 8-9. Let's see. UConn, I go, oh, no. There's no way they get a 9. There's no way they make that rematch. It's Oklahoma. I go, okay, they're going to get a 7. Like I've been saying for a while that they would get a 7.
I thought it was going to be Memphis versus Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been a fun matchup. And then the very next one, Memphis as a 5, could not believe it, but it's what we were talking about. We were going to see what they valued, and very clearly this committee valued what Memphis did in non-conference and those wins that they were able to pick up.
Not just because my league got 14, not just because the Memphis Tigers got a 5. It feels like we ran through the HVAC in the committee room common sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does, and I'm trying to find the tweet from Jason Munns last night, but I know what it said, so I'll paraphrase it. No, on Bracket Matrix, the however many brackets they have on there, not one person, not one bracketologist in their final bracket had Memphis as a 5 seed. So when Joe Lunardi and all these bracketologists are coming out and saying Memphis is the hardest team to figure out, they were right, because everyone was all over the place. Nobody thought that because of how low those metrics were and how much the committee has looked at metrics, everyone thought that they would be 6, 7, 8. But the committee did the right thing, gave Memphis a 5, rewarded them for the tough schedule they played in non-conference and all those wins they picked up. And then, getting through the American with only 2 road losses, rewarded them with a 5 seed, and now
and ahead of
State.
Both Mizzou and Ole Miss that the Tigers defeated.
That's right, yeah.
I guess if you just were searching for something to complain about, and I don't really have a lot of time for it. I don't think Tiger fans have one thing to complain about.
No.
I think that today should be filled with Pride Day.
Absolutely.
For Memphis Tigers fans. Clemson in the overall ranking, I think they were 2 pegs ahead of Memphis.
Okay.
But I know what happened in the head-to-head.
Sure.
But the ACC, even in its weakened state, played much more difficult than the AAC.
And picking up a win over Duke, that was. They even came out afterwards and said that was huge in where Clemson landed. So Clemson had a really good season, and so that doesn't bother me really at all.
That may have been the most mildest of quibbles.
Oh yeah. Again, nothing to really.
Colorado State, fair to catch them, unfair what?
I don't know. I've been telling everybody tonight I'm going to spend a lot of time going back and watching Colorado State games. I just have not watched a ton of Colorado State this year. They're on a 10-game win streak.
Ole Miss beat them at the Landers Center.
Ole Miss beat them
15.
Yeah, sure did. And so it's going to be.
So if you compare scores,
sure,
that means the Tigers are winning by 32, right?
I guess so. Blowout. Vegas doesn't think so. Vegas has
Vegas doesn't have that.
A 2-point underdog right now. Memphis is against Colorado State. All I really know about them, they shoot the ball well. They're on a 10-game win streak. But the biggest thing, and what I'm excited to really watch the film and get a look at them, they're really small. They're, when it comes to their starters, biggest guy is about 6'8" that they run out there. And so you look at what Dane Dange is doing and the absolute tear that he's been on. It feels like he could really, do whatever he wants against these kind of smaller guys. So, I'll watch more of them. I'll have a full scouting report for you tomorrow afternoon.
I'm ready for it.
But I just have not had enough time to sit down and watch them yet.
Even in lightly shaded pencil, have you done anything with your bracket?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Mine's in indelible ink already.
Wow, already figured it out. Well, see, I was waiting because I knew you'd bring a bracket today. So I didn't want to get anything started.
Of course, as picky as I am.
Well, hey, I like it. I like it. Believe me.
Right, Landon.
But no, I have not. I've kind of looked at it, but my problem is I fall in love with so many teams throughout the season, and so then when it comes to bracket time, it is hard for me to pick a bracket. So.
The potential of a second round Tennessee UCLA game.
Yeah, wow.
They faced each other one time in their history, and I remember it well. It was a Saturday NBC game of the week type game. I want to say Dick Enberg, not Al McGuire, because he was still coaching then. Anyway, UCLA won. Yeah. That was Ernie and Bernie at UT then. Yeah. And UCLA won, and the game was played at the Omni in Atlanta. I knew it was a neutral, and it was driving me crazy. Lunchtime partners can confirm this. When they both got there, I'm spinning through the interwebs. I knew it was neutral. I knew it wasn't at Stokely. I knew it wasn't at Pauley, and I couldn't remember where. Yeah. And then finally found a UCLA media guide, and they're in the deep recesses of the interweb.
I believe it. Yeah, that'd be a fun matchup. UCLA has a tough matchup first round against Utah State. But no, that'd be really cool to see that type of matchup. It's gonna be fun, and I'm excited. We'll have David Cobb here.
Tennessee could go back-to-back games. UCLA, Kentucky.
Yeah, man.
That's the history of the NCAA tournament.
Oh man, I mean that would be really incredible, and I mean the potential, which I would love, a Houston and Tennessee matchup to go to the Final Four.
What do you think your score would be?
Oh, I mean, in the 50s.
I swear at lunch I said first to 48.
Yeah. I mean,
Sampson and Barnes just with freak defenses coming off top rope.
Just throwing haymakers at each other defensively. That would be a fun matchup.
Both begging for somebody to make a shot.
Yes. Oh, man.
It would look like the UCLA-Memphis Elite Eight game in 2006 out in Oakland.
It sure would. That would be that'd be really fun. But there's some really good matchups on here, and we'll talk a whole lot about it throughout the rest of the show. I mean, it's going to be a lot of March Madness talk with the brackets revealed last night. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, we're talking all things Tigers. What a weekend for the Tigers, winning the American Conference Tournament, getting the 5 seed. We'll talk a lot about the weekend, the Tigers getting the 5 seed, and this first-round matchup against Colorado State. 3:45, we'll have another look at the bracket, talk about some things that stood out to us, some matchups we're looking at, just all things brackets at 3:45. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports will join us, talk a whole lot of college basketball. We'll get his thoughts on the bracket, some of the matchups that stand out to him. 4:30, Shelby Mast from BracketWag.com, our bracketologist, will join us. We'll talk about what his final bracketology looked like, how it compared to what the committee gave us, and kind of what he thought about what they
He's
decided.
Outraged.
Oh, I believe it. I mean, I saw a lot of bracketologists outraged last night on various things. I know
he texted me back. He said, "I promise not to cuss, but can I have a fit?" So,
please,
all yours.
Please. I'm excited about it. I have not seen Joe Lenardi say anything
I'm afraid I'm
about
gonna make you madder when I say I love it. I think the bracket's a masterpiece.
It's one of the better brackets I've seen. I have I don't want to call them issues, but things that I wasn't thrilled about, but I do think it is a very fair bracket. But we'll get Shelby's thoughts. I'd love to hear his thoughts on it as a bracketologist. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. He'll join us. We'll talk about the weekend for the Grizzlies. Tony Allen got his jersey retired Saturday night. The Grizzlies, they're back in action on the road tonight against Sacramento. Another game where Ja Morant will not play, now out with a hamstring injury. We'll get DeMichael's thoughts on that. And also, the news coming out today, really interested to ask DeMichael about this. Gigi Jackson being sent down to the Hustle. We'll get to all of that at 5 o'clock with DeMichael. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's their first ever preseason pool, spa, and patio event going on now at Family Leisure. Pools from $19.99 and spas from $29.99. Cold plunge and swim spas are priced to move, and patio furniture sets starting at $799. Register to win either a free pool, spa, or patio set. Stop by today to sign up, only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
Produced by Landon Schmidt. We are Sportstime. He's Brian. I'm Brett. And we're with you until 6 o'clock, and we want you to be a part of our show, whether texting or calling at 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. Big, macro, micro thoughts, anything you want to hit us up, do it there. All our guests will join us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. Always from our Family Leisure Studios. And this hour always brought to you by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2025 models and always special leasing options. Driving luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673, but they invite you to stop by the only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day is the March Madness is here. The bracket was unveiled last night, and I don't think anything to really freak out about when it comes to the bracket. I was a little surprised Xavier got in. I don't love their resume. I would have liked to see a team like West Virginia get in. I think the
West Virginia governor's all sore over it.
He's all
I can only rest assured and know there's not a pothole in the state of West Virginia.
Oh yeah.
There's no teacher underpaid in the state of West Virginia. Yep. All reading levels are exceeding the grade level you're in, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Infant mortality rate 0 in West Virginia?
Best state ever.
Posture like this.
I mean, it's crazy. But we always see it. There's always somebody out there that goes, you know what? I can use this down the road. Oh, of course it is. But I think the biggest thing for me when it came to West Virginia is when asked about West Virginia and why they did not make the bracket, the answer was, well, because Tucker DeVries is injured and he is their best player. Okay, I understand that. That is something that the committee has always talked about, is when you have one of your star players out, that is going to affect you. Absolutely. The only problem is, this West Virginia team beat Kansas on the road and Iowa State at home without him. He wasn't even on the floor for either of those games, two of their biggest wins. So I would have liked to see
this is Florida State football stuff.
Oh, it absolutely is. So, and look, it goes back to what we've talked about for a really long time. This bubble might be one of the worst bubbles we've had, certainly in my lifetime.
This bubble a horrible reputation.
It's horrible. And so I really don't blame the committee for whatever teams they put in. There was going to be issues with all, even West Virginia. I hear so many people, wanting to fight over West Virginia being in, but you look at them, 4-3 in quad 2. Their metrics weren't great. They're in the 50s on KenPom and BPI. It's just,
you didn't make a case.
No, none of these teams had a very good case. People wanted to beat down the door over Indiana, the team that fired their coach midway through the season. I mean, this bubble is completely fine. One thing that I thought,
Indiana has made them a lot of money too.
Sure, those are big brands we're talking about that were on the bubble. But here were two things that kind of did jump out at me. Louisville getting an 8 seed, which I thought was pretty low for Pat Kelsey's team, but to kind of make up for that 8 seed, they're playing in the home state in Lexington. That's a nice party gift. And then kind of on the other side, I think you'd say the same thing for Memphis, having to go all the way across the country to Seattle, but to make up for the long trip, you're going to be a 5 seed. So I guess it all kind of.
What would you rather have, the 5 or the closer trip for the Tigers?
Well, I never wanted a 5, so maybe a closer. If you had given me a closer trip in like a 6, I would have loved it.
Lexington?
Sure. Oh, I would have loved Lexington.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, it was fun.
Another thing that's taken a lot of the steam, outrage out of today that used to even spill into Tuesday is the good side of having Dayton.
Yeah.
We got ball tomorrow.
Oh, it's beautiful.
We've got to stop all the complaining and throw the ball up there and play ball.
Forget should North Carolina been in. Let's talk about can North Carolina beat San Diego State.
That's it. My top story, Tigers earned it. The Tigers earned it. Rewarded for their season-long great work that began on opening night, Monday, November 4th, against Mizzou, an NCAA tournament team. The net is dead. Long live eyeballs.
I love it.
Long live common sense. Viva la actually playing. Nobody had a 5. There really shouldn't be any complaining. I don't think about anything. Go win games, beat Colorado State and Maryland, and this great year becomes legendary. Beat Colorado State, and this great year becomes even greater.
Yep.
Lose in the first round, still improved great year, and no criticism from me.
No, absolutely not.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day was Tony Allen getting his jersey retired Saturday night.
Has the ceremony ended yet?
Whew, it was a long one, but I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I think Tony Allen's probably my favorite out of the core four.
Zebo for me, but
just love Tony. I mean, it's hard to pick one of them. I mean, they were all so
Zebo's
good.
my favorite NBA player.
Oh man, Zebo is fantastic. But to see Mark and Zebo there, to see Derrick Rose and Paul Pierce there, to see some of those other former players, Lionel Hollins, and to see everyone
so
there,
well done by the Grizzlies.
It's always. I mean, all three of these have been so good. Tony Allen's was awesome. Maybe could have used a little less cussing in the thing. I know the TV station was not loving that, but it was heartfelt. It was really.
It wasn't quite Bruce Pearl though.
No, that was something. But
there's a lot of cussing over there. I'm going to say it, including Coach Nick Saban.
Oh yeah.
And the president could sure set the tone and stop it.
For sure. But whew. The weekend got the profanity on the television, but a really cool night Saturday, and really cool to see Tony Allen have the moment. We talked about it last week. I mean, that is a guy that most places is not coming anywhere near getting his jersey retired.
But we know
what he meant to Memphis, what he did for this city and for this team, much deserved.
I got to the building early for the presser, and then when they, with their sponsor Robinhood, I'll get a plug in for them.
Absolutely.
Had the jacket that Zebo presented to
awesome.
him. Really cool moment.
Yeah, really cool.
Really fun. My not top story: SEC and the record. Great. Now go win games. Yeah. I say in the first round, and I'm not counting Dayton for Texas. 10 out of 14, maybe 9 out of 14. And you're what you were supposed to be.
Sure.
You're there. If not, I think you have completely switched roles. We know you've switched roles for the last 2 years in football with the Big Ten, with them being back-to-back national champs.
Yeah.
If you get a bunch of teams in and you make no noise, you become the Big Ten in basketball.
Well, yeah.
A lot of teams, no noise.
Yeah, that has been the Big Ten's motto over the last couple of years.
I hadn't won it since 2000.
No, it has been a really long time.
And I've ripped them. I've said Big Ten, big deal. SEC, let's see if it's a big deal.
Yeah. Does it just mean more in the SEC? We'll find out. Well, that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we return, we're going to talk about the Tigers, what they did over the weekend in securing the number 5 seed. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV wins. What are you going to take the RV to the office or go pick up your dry cleaning? RV wins. Are we cleaning the gutters or taking the RV camping? RV wins. Are we getting a new passport or cruising up the coast? RV wins. Don't forget you got the trip to Sweden coming up. Oh, your passport and RV. With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount. And spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates, other insurers, not everyone else needs in situations.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-352-9239. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-352-9239. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-352-9239. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-352-9239, 800-352-9239, or biglou.com.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
March is known for its madness, but this year the madness means money for Sports 56 listeners. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM will be giving away $98.50 a day for as long as the University of Memphis stays alive in the NCAA basketball tournament. That's right, when the Tigers win, more listeners win. Every time the Tigers advance, more Sports 56 listeners will be putting cash in their pocket. Listen to the Sports 56 morning, Happy Hour, and Sports Time once the brackets are announced. As long as the Tigers are in the tournament, one of the shows will be giving away $98.50 each day. Once the Tigers are out, the cash is out too. So we're on the Tigers. Keep winning and keep listening to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM for your chance to win some of that cash. The Sports 56 and 98.5 FM Tiger Cash giveaway is brought to you by Mid-South Small Engines, Memphis Mold Inspector, Valve Equipment, and Buster's Butcher, Buster's Liquors.
Good afternoon. TDOT. Those help trucks have been really busy removing debris. It seems like all over the city this afternoon, especially in the Midtown area, as it builds south of Memphis, 55 down through DeSoto County. Still moving right now. 240 as you get onto 385. Bill Morris Parkway going outbound. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We got to talk about the Tigers and what they did over the weekend. Really impressive stuff. We talked a lot about what happened on Friday. Obviously, an early game. We were in here once that game was over. But Saturday, you got to go out and play. You got to go out and play Tulane, a team that, only saw them once this season, and a team that kind of gave you a little bit of trouble when you went down there to New Orleans to play them. A little bit of the same over the weekend, a game that, came down late and you needed to make some baskets, but you had P.J. Haggerty come up big in the last couple of minutes. Dane Danger had a nice game, able to secure that win. And then yesterday, round 3, Memphis and UAB, a game that was, really back and forth early, but ultimately in the second half, Tigers really came out ready to go and secured that win. And just barely got to see the selection show once that game was over, but get rewarded with a 5 seed.
Very much rewarded. Well earned for the Tigers. They can only play the schedule conference that's put in front of them. They're not changing conferences for next year. Those 18 games.
That's right.
Next year, surely it will be a little bit improved. I hope so. But they did what they had to do in that conference. They had the 2 slips, one in overtime at Wichita State. I don't think is that bad. Now at Temple, it ended up not being that bad. We know now. The committee didn't think it was that bad.
That's right.
All these truths are being revealed. Back to Saturday, the 1-point win over Tulane. You reverse some of the things from the box score, and you would have people outraged.
Oh, yeah.
The whole call it both ways, and people that think a game, that at the end of the game, everybody should have the same number of fouls called on them, is patently ignorant. Yeah. It truly is, and a lot of ignorant people sell that when they talk about games. Tulane had 27 fouls. Memphis had 17.
Yeah. If anything,
you reverse that, and there would be people convinced of conspiracy.
Oh, absolutely. no doubt about it.
In a 1-point game, you have that big a disparity.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that until you just brought that up. But yeah, I mean that is it's 10. That's a 10 foul difference.
You go through that box score from Saturday, and you wonder how Memphis won that game.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
But they did, and that's the object of the game, and especially now. John Harden has the Burr months, right? The M month is the March is just win, baby.
Yeah,
and the Tigers able to field goals. Tulane made 27, Memphis made 25. 3-pointers. Tulane made 9, Memphis made 5. I mentioned the foul disparity. At that free throw line, Memphis making 23, Tulane only making 14. Ball game.
Oh, yeah, ball game. I mean, if you had told me, if this was a game that I did not watch, and you told me, hey, P.J. Haggerty's going to have a game where he's 2 for 13 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3, I'd go, yeah, you probably didn't fare very well.
You lose, you're in the 8-9 game, and a lot of chest pounding of we told you so by bracketology.
And on top of that, you could even go further. So Tyrese 2 for 13 from the field, Tyrese Hunter 2 for 5, Colby Rogers 3 for 10, and Nicholas Jourdain 1 for 6. I go, yeah, no, you lost that game.
Brian, Saturday night at the Grizzlies game, I'm looking at that box score and going, how did they win?
Yeah.
And that win propelled them to the finals. Right. And it was a 3-point win on Friday, 1-point win on Saturday, and pretty much a cruiser yesterday.
Yeah, no, it was for whatever reason. I mean, we talk about it. This Tiger team, they are ready to go against UAB. I think it has a lot to do with some of that back and forth we've seen throughout the season. But
Yaxel Lindenborg.
Oh man.
You stirred up the wrong bunch.
Yeah. That was a bad decision on his part. But no, Tigers, they're ready to go when they see UAB, and they were certainly ready to go yesterday. I mean, I mentioned it, that big second half they had where they really came out, scored 52 points in that second half, outscored UAB 52-37 after trailing by 3 in the first half, and UAB kind of came out and made a shot or two out of the break. So I mean, it was a decent deficit early in that second half before Memphis really turned it on and was able to come back and win that game. And you talk about Dane Danger, 2 really good games both Saturday and Sunday, 22 points in that game. Sunday had a really good game on Saturday as well, kind of the big time factor for Memphis against Tulane. And I think he might be the key for Friday's game against Colorado State. I mentioned it. Their bigs are very small for Colorado State, so that feels like a game where maybe you give it down to Dane and try to let him work against some of those smaller bigs.
If you want to win close games, and these are going to be nail biters, that's what March is made of. It made March famous. Tigers Friday, 15 turnovers. Saturday, 13. Sunday, 12.
Yeah,
that's the right trend line.
That's right. Yeah, you want that trend line to continue, and I think we've seen this team really over the second half of the season really settle down when it comes to turnovers. You have those games, but if you take the first half of the season and the second half of the season, the second half has been a lot better in terms of turnovers. Again, you'll still have that 1 or 2 games that pop up, and you have the 20 turnovers against UTSA. But I do think this team is getting better. Now, the big question will be for this game on Friday is the availability of Tyrese Hunter, the availability of Dante Harris, and I don't know if either play. I know there is speculation out there. I know there's things out there saying what Tyrese Hunter may or may not have. I don't want to put those out there because honestly, until the team says something or one of the beat writers say something, that's really who I'm going to trust and go with. But
it looks,
I don't think
ghastly.
I think he's done for the season. And maybe if you go on a deep run, maybe he's able to come back. But just seeing him even yesterday in that game in a boot, but still using crutches, hopping around, not putting anything on that foot with the boot, that does not bode well for a turnaround, at least this weekend.
Well, what horrible timing.
Yeah, I mean, just really.
Right, I'm not saying will. I'm saying could. Okay, Let's play the could scenarios out.
Okay.
Memphis can beat Colorado State.
Yeah.
I know the point spread, but also I think a lot of the Hunter injury factors into that 12 being favored over the 5. Vegas knows.
Oh, man.
All due respect for the LV for us. But assuming it's Maryland, Tigers could beat Maryland.
It's a lot tougher of an opponent. That will come down to I mean, that will be a really good matchup in terms of big men. I mean,
that Sweet 16, and after that,
oh man, yeah,
house money.
If you can get past those two, yeah, I mean, it's an unbelievable year. If we
Sweet
talk
16
about
for the first time since 2009.
Yeah, I mean, there are
Cows last year.
360 some odd teams. About 358 of them are thrilled to go to the.
That's good enough for most.
That's a huge season, and so yeah. But I think what you said after what happened last year, and then kind of what happened in the offseason this year, and
on the eve of this season,
right up until the start of the season, just the fact that this team is a 5 seed and in the tournament, that's already a huge win.
It is. I think that's the end of the line on the couldas. I think then in the Sweet 16 it would be Florida, and I don't think any chance.
Yeah, I mean, I love this Tiger team, but man, Florida is just clicking on all cylinders right now.
30-4.
It's incredible. I mean, they are, and what they did in the SEC conference tournament. You can have the conversation. I mean, what were the motivations for some of these teams? But just the way that they
bring your
own, sure. But the way that they can go so deep. We talk about do these teams want to go deep? Florida wants to go deep, and that's kind of what they've talked about. Todd Golden has said multiple times that we want to go deep. We want to wear the opponent down because we can go 10, 11 guys.
QB Brown 10-man rotation.
Exactly, and you're gassed over there with your 8-man, 7-man rotation, and we're cruising to a victory. So yeah, this is a really tough region for any of those teams. I mean, you look at it: Florida, Texas Tech is in there, Memphis, St. John's, Kansas, Arkansas. Heck, UConn as an 8, the back-to-back champions. I mean, this is going to be a difficult region for whoever comes out of it. But, I think Florida will be the favorite right now just because of how they've played over this last month or two.
Everything's vindicated.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Hardaway on the eve of the season, staff changes,
yep.
The scheduling,
yep.
the criticism of the AAC,
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's when the stick man at the crap table just drags everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like they
absolutely.
always do.
Absolutely.
Their way.
Yeah.
I mean, Penny won everything.
He did, and it was good to see. And I think, we'll tell you, I think this will at least give you an idea of what that non-conference schedule is going to look like next year, the year after, because I do think the committee said
really justifies beefing it up.
Exactly, you
even
played
more.
a tough schedule, and even and I know North Carolina is playing in a much better conference, but that was the reason North Carolina got in is the non-conference schedule they played was so tough and it was so good. Even though they lost all those games, they were going out there and playing the best teams. So they're telling teams out there, go out there and schedule tough because that's going to give you an edge come tourney time.
Next year, have to return to Oxford and Starkville those games. It feels like it's the end of the Mizzou deal.
Feels like it. Yeah.
And just a few years ago, played A&M, so probably wouldn't play them. Doesn't feel like it's going to happen with Arkansas or Kentucky or Tennessee. A lot of water under the bridge for every party along those lines. Did the Alabama thing and even did the make-believe game this year with Alabama. Make that call to Florida.
Oh, yeah. I would definitely
make that call to Texas.
Yeah, I'd be for that too. I think those are two really good teams that I'd be so down to see those two teams on the schedule.
They had a series with Georgia, had a series with South Carolina. So I don't know anybody that interested in doing those again. Had just one-off game in Atlanta with Auburn?
Yeah, and they've seen Auburn a couple times in those kind of one-off things. But I'd get on the phone. I mean, I'd call Bruce Pearl and try to set something up. Something more regular.
Had it with Vandy previous 2 years. So if you want to and that would be FedEx Forum games with going to. Yeah. And that's going to be hard to get somebody we want to play you, but you got to come to us first.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean it's really tough. I'll tell you, outside of the SEC, one team to look at or keep an eye on because I know it was reported back in the summer. Louisville. I know that was kind of thrown out there a little bit. That
you think it's close?
The two sides have at least been in conversations about it. I think Pat Kelsey is all for playing anybody.
Any of the SEC stuff.
100%. And so I think Pat Kelsey would be in on that, and I certainly know Memphis would love to have that game.
Sign it up.
I could see it happening. I really could. So I think that's
kind of that
a big one to keep an eye on.
I was going to say third Saturday, December.
Yeah.
That's kind of the Kentucky spot for them.
But they certainly, they played a lot of really tough games around Kentucky this year too. So, maybe somewhere around there, maybe the weekend after or something like that.
What's the MTE being discussed for next year? Is it?
I really don't know. That'd probably be a question for Jason when we talk to him.
Next week question.
Yeah, that'd certainly be a next week question. I really don't know. I haven't really heard anything, but you would think you hear something.
Not only the interest in it and how good they are. Look, it's undeniable. They got 14 in.
Sure.
When you play someone from the SEC, you get that feeder system going. If you beat them, you're getting a little bit of that every time they do well.
Absolutely.
After beating Ole Miss, when Ole Miss beats Kentucky, great.
Yeah, no, it's kind of that thing where once you beat them, you go, okay, well, I'm kind of now
I still
a fan
hate
of
you,
them. Yeah,
but great.
But I'm going to be rooting for you in some of these big games because it definitely helps you. And so, yeah, I think you talk about a lot of those SEC teams that they've played. Maybe you do go to one of these teams that you've seen and say, hey, let's re-up. Let's keep doing this.
I would absolutely do handstands if I knew without a doubt someone in that committee sometime last week on any Memphis Ole Miss or Memphis Mizzou debate, they beat them.
Yeah.
And won by 17 and won by 8 or so opening night against Missouri. Is that right?
Yeah,
it was about 8. I don't remember exactly. I think 84-76, but I could be off, but close enough.
Well, now I want to look.
Yeah, well, let's look. See, I bet my brain's working.
All right, so what'd you say?
I said 84-76.
Wow, 83-75.
I'm going to call it right.
Incredible.
Okay.
I'm calling that right for sure. I'll tell you a team that if I'm Memphis, I get on the phone with. I'd give Oklahoma a call and say, let's get something up. Now, that's one, you have had that series.
And it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Had the Marcus Moody game out there at Norman in 97.
You sure did. You got Trey Young when he was at Oklahoma.
Sure did.
So, yeah, I would give them a call and say, let's get something on the books. So, but that's going to be the thing is Memphis has shown that they'll play these SEC teams year in and year out. So that's kind of going to be the chatter this offseason.
And stay after Arkansas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, stay on Arkansas.
But here's the rub for the Tigers, though. Already going to Oxford and Starkville, do you want a third SEC road trip in November and December?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But if that's what it took.
I was about to say, I think Penny Hardaway would say, let's do it,
And going to play in football this September.
Yeah, and I think that's good. I think, when you have that relationship there, that can only expand to other sports. So we'll see. But obviously, that will be off-season chatter.
That's for the future.
Yeah, that's for the future.
This week's real good.
Oh, yeah, really, really good. We'll definitely talk a ton about it throughout the show and obviously throughout the week. Before we get to a break here, I want to remind you, we've been talking about the Tigers and where they're at in the bracket. Right here on Sports 56, we're doing the Tiger Cash giveaway all week long. As long as the Tigers are alive in the NCAA tournament, we'll give away $98.50 each day on either Sports 56 Mornings, Happy Hour, or Sports Time. I don't want to give anything away, but I haven't listened all day, but I don't think it's been given away yet. So
we got the cash.
I would stay tuned in if I were you. Yeah, he is. He is sitting on it, protecting it. But I got to give a shout out to the sponsors: Mid-South Small Engines, Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold inspector in the Mid-South, Cobb Equipment, and Buster's Butcher and Buster's Liquors. Thank y'all so much for being a part of this, and stay tuned because at some point this afternoon you'll have an opportunity to win the Tiger Cash giveaway for this Monday afternoon. But let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk a little bit more about the bracket.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Buster's is opening a new location at Poplar and I-240, your one-stop shop for wine and spirits. Family owned and operated for 70 years, Buster's offers the best service and wine knowledge in the area. Stop by and check out our selection of wine, spirits, beer, and more. Buster's is the supermarket of fine spirits. Visit us online at bustersliquors.com. Buster's, we got your spirit. Come see us at I-240 and Poplar.
The first ever preseason pool spa and patio event is going on now at Family Leisure. First time ever. pool? They're starting at just $19.99. How about a spa? They're starting at just $29.99. Patio furniture sets are starting at $7.99. Cold plunges and swim spas are just, well, I can't even say those prices. But I will say they're priced to move. There are so many deals going on right now during the first ever preseason pool spa and patio event. You've got to come in and see the savings for yourself. But wait, there's more. You can register to win either a free pool, a spa, or a patio set. Yes, a free pool, spa, or patio set. Just like our family leisure to sign up. This is a first time ever preseason pool, spa, patio event. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure. Whitney Road at I-40. Family and fun come together.
If I'm looking for some amazing deals on a new ride, where should I go, Marty McNeil?
You come see me at Gossip Volkswagen Germantown.
Well, that sounds like the right thing to do. What do you got out there at Gossip Volkswagen Germantown?
Randy, I've got 2025 Jetta SE at $269 a month.
Brand new 2025 Jetta SE, $269 a month. What else you got?
How about a new 2023 Taos SE, only $26,998.
Under $27,000 for a brand new Taos SE. That's awesome.
Plus all 2024 Volkswagen Atlas SELT edition and all 2024 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport SEL R lines, $5,000 off.
Well, I'm coming to see you at Gossip Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road, online, gossipvwg.com. Ask for Marty McNeil.
And remember, the future is what you make of it.
Hi, this is Troy Five Ash, owner of Five Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Hi, fellas. I'm Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. And Christmas and Valentine's Day have come and gone. And at some point, you need to make your favorite lady happy on her anniversary or her birthday, or just because she's special. At Russell Brothers, we've been helping Memphis men for over 40 years do just that. When a gift-giving occasion arises, we're here to help you. Magnificent diamonds and exquisite gemstones are our forte, and you can find them set in stunning range. Beautiful necklaces, shimmering bracelets, or perhaps an elegant pair of earrings. The possibilities are endless, and at Russell Brothers you can always know that if you surprise her and she'd rather have something else, we're happy to exchange or refund your money within 30 days. We know you don't hit a home run every time at bat. Beauty, value, quality, and service are the things that set Russell Brothers apart from other jewelers. Come see us at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. Let us help you say you're the best to that wonderful lady in your life. Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Now, back to Sports Time. Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Glenn Stark, Sports Movie, and Brian Davis.
Well, just a couple minutes left in this hour, but we're going to take another look at this bracket. Brett, you have talked about it a couple times. You love the way the bracket came out, so you have no complaints.
I just have none. I think the best got rewarded. I think this bracket screams meritocracy.
Yeah,
and that's what I want. I don't want somebody getting. You almost had this. Just how much is too much for the SEC? 16?
Well,
that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I would say it about the Big Ten. I'd say it about the ACC. I would say it in football. If next year in football, if there's 10 from the Big Ten and 1 from the ACC and 1 group of 5, then that's how it falls out.
Sure. Yeah.
In some years you'll be on the right side of it. Some years you won't be, and we go on. But I want the best in, and I like how the bracket is composed.
Yeah, well, I think the beauty of the bracket selection show March Madness is everyone will be mad at it last night starting at 6 o'clock when the selection show's over, all the way until about tomorrow night at 5:30 when the first game gets started. And then we'll all just be watching basketball, and everyone will forget about the issues they had with it.
Some of the outrage is manufactured.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But because for a lot of people like me that's been in this for a long time, it was kind of the go-to play on Monday. Everybody be all mad and sore over something. I didn't really like that then. Let's talk ball.
Yeah.
I mean, that's done with. That was last week.
Yeah.
I'm driving home last night from Oxford listening to these airwaves, to the Sunday night Fox Sports Radio crew, and one of the hosts, very revealing, he goes, I don't mind this bracket. It's going to wreck my show. I was here to be all mad.
Love it. Honesty is the best policy, you know?
And North Carolina is the easiest.
Yeah.
But 22-win North Carolina is going to be in this bracket.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that
I heard Greg Gaston last week when they had on Kerry Miller.
Okay, yeah.
Kerry's later in the week after Jerry Palm early in the week.
Yeah, Jerry Palm's earlier in the week.
Thank you. And I listened. I was getting my times a little confused. And I heard him say that. He said, "There's no way a 22-win North Carolina team's not getting in."
Yeah.
And I'm listening, and I go, "Greg's right."
Yeah. No, I'm with you. You know, I think the things, very minor issues I had with it, nothing that I'm super outraged over. Again, Xavier, but again, going back to the bubble was terrible. That doesn't really bother me that much. Louisville in 8, I thought was awfully low, and to see,
but maybe some horse trading.
Sure, maybe, but at the same time,
and they want Louisville packing out rough.
Of course, but I don't care if you give me the easiest place to play or not. Louisville having to start the tournament playing Creighton, and then if they win that game playing Auburn, that is a very tough draw for them. And then the other thing, I thought Michigan being a 5 after, and it goes back to not playing your championship game right before the bracket is revealed, because these people are done with the bracket before it's ever revealed. But you have Michigan as a 5 seed, now having played UC San Diego, which is a very popular upset pick. They're now behind Purdue, same conference, but did not win their conference tournament, and Maryland, who they beat yesterday afternoon in the conference championship game. So, that's probably, I would have liked to see Michigan a 4. I think you could have just swapped Michigan and Maryland, even though Maryland, I think, very good team. I'm fine with them being 4, but yeah, I didn't have anything crazy to take away.
Real quick, for lunch at your place, anywhere in town tomorrow, can you tell me the only first-round game of past champion versus past champion?
This year.
No, in this bracket.
On this bracket. Oh, gosh. I don't know.
Arkansas and Kansas.
Oh, I was going to guess that. Oh, well, we got to get to a break, wrap up this hour. When we come back, we're talking more basketball with David Cobb.
All aboard, football fans. The Memphis Showboats are back in action with more of the football you love. Join the Showboats at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium March 30th for the opening weekend of the 2025 UFL season as the Boats take on the Michigan Panthers. Kickoff is 11 a.m. Head to UFLShowboats.com now to get your tickets and get more of the touchdown celebrating, high-fiving, bell-ringing action you love. That's UFLShowboats.com. Go Boats!
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 91271-5199.
We are ready to meet anyone on your new Hyundai from Gossett Hyundai on the Pike during the
Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Plus, you get America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Listen to this, Mid-South 2024 Hyundai Venue Limited. We got it, 22,317. How about 2024 Hyundai Elantra Limited? We got it, 24,997. 2025 Hyundai Elantra SEL Convenience, 25,260. And 2024 Hyundai Sonata SEL Standard, 26,353. This is what deals are made of at Gossett Hyundai 1870 Covington Pike. Online, HyundaiGossett.com. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
155 MSRP 25,160. Elantra RU 821,411 MSRP 28,780. Convenience SU 856,185 MSRP 27,020. Sonata RU 415,696 MSRP 29,110. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Whether you need to do work on 1 acre or keep up 1,000 acres, Calv Equipment has the equipment for you. For large landowners, Calv Equipment has Coyote tractors and all the implements to get your job done. For commercial cutters and you large homeowners that want the best commercial, zero-turn, stand-on, or walk-behind mowers, Calv has Exmark and Toro commercial mowers along with Red Max and Echo commercial blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws. If you have land to work, Calv Equipment has the tools for you. Visit Calv Equipment, 4900 Old Summer Road, one block north of Summer and Mendenhall.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the little red tractor from Case IH, the Farm Lawn, to help them make sure work on demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list. From hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farm Lawn that's right for you.
You know, if I had a nickel for every time somebody has recognized me as the spokesperson for Central Barbecue.
One of the spokespersons.
One of the spokespeople. I wouldn't have a nickel because we do these for the radio. But I'm proud to be the spokesperson for Central Barbecue.
One of the...
You know what I mean? I'm proud because all of us who do this have had to do ads for things we didn't necessarily believe in.
Yeah, I know I have.
I know you have too.
Hey.
But we get to tell everyone about Central Barbecue, the best barbecue in Memphis.
In the world.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Good afternoon. It's gotten heavier on all the major outbound routes, especially through the Midtown area on 240 southbound at South Parkway all the way down to Norris, 240 getting on to 385. We watched that volume increase quite a bit in the last few minutes on 240 east over here at Mount Moriah getting on to Bill Morris Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry serving Memphis for what? Over 40 years. No matter what the occasion is, you'll save a ton of money if you shop local at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1. Sports Time on Sports 56 and 95 FM. Once again, Brett Roserby and Ryan Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our second hour, and joining us now to talk some college basketball, David Kopp from CBS Sports joins us now. David, thanks so much for joining us. Happy Bracket Monday. How surprised were you when it was announced that the University of Memphis would be a 5 seed?
Guys, I wasn't shocked. I've been saying it, that a 5 would be within the realm of possibility for Memphis because of how many good wins they had. And certainly winning the AAC tournament did nothing to hurt. I mean, whether or not you think the Sunday results actually factored into the committee's decision, whole nother discussion, right? But the idea that Memphis somehow didn't deserve a 5 with the body of work that they put together is ridiculous. And so I thought it was wise of the committee to place an emphasis on what transpired on the court and then the best quad one winning percentage in college basketball. Right? That's what got Memphis to the 5 line. And in fact, I believe had Memphis compiled this same resume 15 years ago, they would have been even better than a 5 back before we incorporated KenPom and other advanced analytics into the process. So very well deserved for Memphis. And maybe if I was surprised at all, it's just because everybody else thought they would be a worse seed than that. And so I think they deserved it. I think the committee actually got it right in terms of where they placed Memphis.
Dave, that's a sensational point about before we got so metric driven that this is a 2 seed in the 1995 tournament.
Oh, yeah, with this non-conference schedule, with that conference record, winning the conference tournament, and now you're seeing the star power, too. I mean, P.J. Haggerty and Dane Danger, they're stars, man.
Mm-hmm.
P.J. Haggerty's an All-American. Dane Danger is one of the best big men in the country. Obviously, the loss of Tyrese Hunter and his status, massive storyline now for the Tigers. But thankfully, it didn't appear as though his status had any real impact on where Memphis ended up in the bracket.
It also, the Tigers, they did a lot of work Thanksgiving week. That in Maui really planted the flag. But also in the conference from January on, they ended up playing, in effect, 21 conference games and winning 19 of them, right? So, yeah, 16-2 and 3-0 down at Dickies Arena. The value of winning, it matters.
Huge. And it wasn't always pretty, and the metrics look at that. They look at the margin of victory and your offensive efficiency and all this other stuff, but can you win games? And Memphis has shown time and time again against all levels of competition that when the game is on the line, they've got the players to deliver. So that's huge this time of year because nothing's going to come easy in this West region. Looks to me like the toughest region in the bracket. They're going to earn everything they get this week, but they've been through the fires. And so seeing Colorado State certainly won't intimidate Memphis. They're a Mountain West team. I mean, come on, you just ran through a loaded Maui Invitational earlier this year and then handled the AAC with no real issues. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a dogfight here on out, but you see the way Memphis handles its business in close games, and you got to feel okay about their chances.
I've declared the net dead, is it?
Yeah, it's not as relevant, right? What it basically is the way that they come up with the quad system, right? So because where you are in the net determines whether you're a quad 1 opponent, a quad 2 opponent for teams, but it looks like the wins above bubble, if you want to throw a new metric in there, the WOB, had a pretty significant impact on the way these teams were evaluated, and that certainly worked in Memphis' favor.
Yeah, it was also something they cited for North Carolina. That seems like the most outrage, or where the most outrage is coming from by people, is North Carolina getting into the field. They'll play in the first 4 game against San Diego State. What'd you make of the Tar Heels getting in?
Shouldn't have been surprised. They've got that powder blue uniform. It says North Carolina on the front, so shouldn't have been surprised. I mean, Virginia made it in the field last year when there were way more bid thieves. The bubble was compacted last year by all these random conference tournament champions that we got. We didn't even have that this year, so shouldn't have been surprised that North Carolina got in despite a horrific quad 1 record, 1 quad 1 victory, total choke job in the semifinals with a lane violation with the game on the line against Duke. But at the end of the day, you think this committee was going to put North Carolina outside the field? No, you're joking yourself because it's North Carolina. I mean, come on. So, no, I wasn't surprised to see them in, even though I don't necessarily think they deserved it.
Yeah, well, I mean, really bad bubble this year. I think the team that I was left scratching my head about more than North Carolina was Xavier. I just do not understand how this Xavier team got in. Again, you got to put 68 teams in. This bubble was terrible this year. But give me the reason behind Xavier being in the field.
Well, it's the classic, the way you played lately thing. I mean, which isn't really supposed to have much of an impact, mind you, on the way they look at the teams, but Xavier was really good down the stretch. They got it together. They do have victories over Creighton. They do have victories over UConn. They did win at Marquette. So they do have 3 wins over NCAA tournament teams there, which is 2 more wins than North Carolina has over NCAA tournament teams. So if I had been on the committee, I would have said, put Xavier in over UNC, no doubt. But, I mean, above all, I would have said West Virginia deserved to be in, and they got left out. And now, I mean, they are rightfully, I think, just causing an uproar over the fact that they were on the wrong side of the bubble.
Got the governor out there.
Putting the governor out there in front of a podium that says National Corrupt Athletic Association. How about that?
Take that, Brian Bosworth.
Fantastic.
Boz was persona non grata for a T-shirt like that once upon a time. David, you were at some high-end games last week in Nashville. Really fun games all day, all night. Did it really matter?
Stats, I don't know that it did. Because
your work
so
did.
much.
Your time and your trouble did. But did those games matter?
It mattered for Texas getting 2 more quad one wins. They'd have been on the wrong side of the bubble if they didn't beat Texas A&M in the second round. So the SEC, it was the difference between the SEC getting 13 in and getting 14 in. Because I think even had Arkansas or Oklahoma lost in their first game, I still think both those teams probably would have gotten in. So Texas, I think, was the only one who really played themselves onto the right side of the bubble at the SEC tournament. In the long run, though, the reality of the fact is, guys, that even if Tennessee had beaten Florida yesterday, my suspicion is that Florida still would have been the 4th number 1 seed, and that Tennessee still would have been a number 2 seed, and the Tennessee fans would be in an uproar over that. And it's hard to blame them because look at the Big Ten tournament championship game. Michigan wins the Big Ten tournament, gets left as a 5 seed, which is pretty much where, kind of on the lower end of where most teams thought they would be going into that game. Then you beat Wisconsin, you hold that trophy, you go and watch the selection show, and you realize it did nothing for you. That's got to be infuriating. And so the same thing would have transpired in all likelihood in the SEC if that result had gone differently yesterday.
On the list of mattering and not mattering, Auburn losing 3 of their last 4. Does it matter?
Man, if you asked Bruce Pearl that question, which somebody did, and I was in that press conference, and he just about leapt over the podium and went to confront them. I mean, he said, "Are we panicked?" And he was so enraged when presented with the concept that maybe Auburn should be panicked after losing 3 of 4. It almost made me think that maybe he is, actually a little miffed about where his team is at right now. But his point was, no, we're not panicked because these 3 losses all came against cream de la cream type of teams. You lose to Tennessee, you lose to Alabama, you lose to Texas A&M. All 3 of them are top 4 seeds or better in the NCAA tournament. And, Bruce Pearl feels like the body of work that his team put together was all the validation they needed to be the number 1 overall seed. But I would be a bit more panicked or worried or whatever about Auburn if they got a different draw. And look, guys, Louisville should be better than an 8 seed. Mm-hmm. The fact that they're an 8 is really tough.
Yeah, Brian's
but
I
don't think they're a team that Auburn should be worried about necessarily. So
no.
I think Auburn's going to be around in this field. They're going to make it to the Elite 8. That's where I've got them going out to Michigan State at the moment. But they've got as good of a chance as anybody, despite the recent struggles.
Mm-hmm. What is your kind of looking at the bracket? Where the upsets coming from, David Cobb?
Give me UC San Diego, guys. They're playing Michigan in the first round. Super fun matchup. UC San Diego forces a ton of turnovers. And Michigan State, they turn it over a lot. So we could be looking at a 20-turnover Michigan game there against a team that the metrics just love. I mean, UC San Diego is top 40 in all your advanced analytics. So this is their first year of NCAA tournament eligibility. Yeah. They just completed that transition process from D2. So they're hungry. This is a big moment for them. Michigan's kind of limping in a little bit here. Hey, look, they just had to play in the Big Ten tournament. They go through that grind, which is why I say they're limping in. Clearly they're playing well, but we've seen it in the not too distant past. We see it all the time, actually, that the teams who grind through a conference tournament that ends on Sunday, sometimes they struggle a little bit in the first round. And so Michigan could be that prime sort of upset candidate after what they went through in the Big Ten tournament.
David, how are you grading the ultimate success of the SEC? Is it ultimately with how many they get to San Antonio? Because I said earlier, and I'm not counting Dayton, Texas has to get out of there, 14 first-round games. I said 10-4, maybe 9-5, or they've pulled a Big Ten. A lot of teams and not a lot of noise.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be one of the biggest storylines of this week is what the SEC does. Because we all see the headlines, 14 of the 16 in. But what do you do from here is how you're ultimately going to be judged. Because the critics from other leagues are just waiting to pounce. They've got those tweets queued up in the draft to fire out. When
their
the
fans are ready to chant SEC.
Without a doubt, they're going to be just pounded if they don't come out here and perform. So I thought it was interesting. I sat down with Garth Glissman, the associate commissioner who is in charge of basketball now for the SEC. And I asked him, how do you evaluate success now that you're moving into the postseason? And he was pretty blunt. He says in the SEC we're measured by national championships, and you should be right. So you got the past 5 baseball national championships. You got the past 3 women's basketball national championships. You've got the 13 of the past 19 football national champions, and yet it's been since 2012 that you have a basketball champion in Kentucky on the men's side. And so I think, and he told me, like, that's how we'll be judged. Now, of course, look, if the SEC puts 2 teams in the Final Four, but Duke or Houston wins the whole thing ultimately, that doesn't mean it was a failed season by the SEC. And he was very clear. In the single elimination chaos of the NCAA tournament, everything can happen. Anything can happen. But over these next few years, as we move into this basketball era in the SEC, right, like the expectation from within the league is we've got to win national championships. And it would be disappointing on some level if after the season they've had, there is not a national champion from the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to Michigan for a second, do they have a case to be upset getting a 5 seed? You look at some other Big Ten teams right in front of them. Purdue gets a 4. Maryland, who they just beat in the conference championship game, gets a 4. Does Michigan have a case to be mad at getting that 5 seed?
No doubt, but I think what it comes down to is that the committee did most of their work on Michigan before the Big Ten tournament. Yeah. And so Michigan lost its last 3 games going into the Big Ten tournament. So at that point, you're looking at the resume and looking at it in a certain type of light. You sort of get pegged into a certain spot in the bracket by the committee at that point. Mm-hmm. And then we know, as we've discussed, they don't put a ton of stock into the conference tournament. And so, yeah, they have a right to be upset. I think Louisville is seeded rather poorly, considering – What ended up hurting Louisville is that their 2 best non-conference victories were Indiana and West Virginia. Well, the committee didn't respect those wins because those were 2 of the first 4 teams left out of the bracket. So if those 2 teams are in, then you're looking at Louisville's resume a little differently, and you're saying they definitely should be better than an 8. But they should have been better than an 8, and that's where they ended up. So to me, it's the 2 teams that with the biggest gripes are right there next to each other, more or less, in the South region. It's Michigan, it's Louisville. I thought they both deserved better seedings than what they got.
David, as a reporter, what regional, what pod would you like to be there for just the press conferences?
Well, the West is stacked. Yeah. When you got Dan Hurley in the West, so press conferences with Dan Hurley are never boring. Now you got Penny Hardaway in there. He's a no filter type of guy from time to time. And Rick Pitino.
That's right.
Bill Self, John Calipari.
In
that
Providence.
Region,
1 microphone, 3 coaches.
It's insane. that little pod there is going to be raucous. And that region as a whole, the Memphis region, is, it could be so good. It's a tough region, but it's going to be wildly entertaining.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. Going back to kind of these conference tournaments, it feels like to me that conference tournaments really only matter if you're a bubble team. One thing I noticed looking at these teams that made it
last weekend, the second weekend of conference tournaments.
What do you mean?
That's when it matters for bubble teams. That first week's automatic.
Exactly. Yes. No, I think you look at some of the teams that got left out, and the common denominator was they all lost in the first round of the conference tournaments. It really feels like that's kind of the difference maker is, if you're a bubble team, if you had an early exit in your conference tournament, you're probably going to be on the wrong side of the bubble. If you kind of went deep, then you'll probably be in. Do you kind of feel that same way?
No, that's a fair point, because I wasn't really worried about Indiana going into the Big Ten tournament. I thought they were somewhat safe, and they weren't going to run up against anybody in the Big Ten tournament who would be a bad loss. And so I thought they were on the right side, especially if there weren't going to be a ton of bubble or bid thieves, which there were not. And so I think that could be the case. The bubble, that it has more of an impact on the bubble than it does on the 1 line or on the 2 line. Although I'll say this, I do think St. John's played its way from a 3 into a 2 by virtue of winning the Big East tournament. And there's a world in which they might have rather been the 3 in the East, because that region is going to be concluded in Newark, which is going to be would be a whole lot more convenient than going out west for St. John's. So, when you start talking about the 1 seeds and the 2 seeds and even the 3 seeds, so much of the work is already done before the tournament with the amount of quad one wins that you've amassed and all that sort of thing. But the bubble teams, I think that's where more of the attention gets directed is who's going to be those last few teams in, whereas they do most of their work with the top of the bracket early. And yeah, Brian, no doubt. I mean, no doubt. Indiana, if they win a game in the Big Ten tournament, they're in this field today.
Yeah, and West Virginia, lost to Colorado in the first round of the Big 12. They win that game, and they're probably in.
Yeah, but at the same time, you lose to the worst team in your conference.
Exactly.
It's hard to – I'll say this, though. The reasoning that the committee used for keeping West Virginia out was absurd because they pointed to an injury to Tucker DeVries, who was supposed to be their best player. Well, he's been out almost the entire season. They amassed most of their 6 quad one wins without him. So the idea that his absence is going to preclude them from beating anyone in the NCAA tournament is silly. They went to Allen Fieldhouse and beat Kansas without him. I mean, so give me a break on that. I don't blame them for being furious about it either, especially not when it's selection committee chair Bubba Cunningham's Tar Heels who are the ones taking their place in the field.
David, back to those 3 coaches in Providence. Rick Pitino was very much a revolutionary at Providence with the three-point line with Delray Brooks and Billy Donovan, getting to New Orleans in the Final Four in '87. And when John Calipari came along a few years later, I don't think there's any doubt that's who he wanted to be. He wanted to be Pitino. I would love for someone to ask Bill Self, who did you want to be?
No, it's interesting. Being a guy that was sort of born and raised in basketball in the state of Oklahoma. I mean, was it Eddie Sutton? Was that his idol? I don't know. It's interesting. Bill Self's a fascinating character this week because Kansas, for the second year in a row, is sitting here in the bracket, but with no juice whatsoever. I mean, their tank is on zero. They are on empty as a program right now. It feels like. So, is there some way somehow that he can channel some sort of a coaching masterclass here? It's just going to be so tough, though, because first you got to get past an Arkansas team that played its basketball in the second half of the season, and then you got to find a way to get past Rick Pitino and St. John. So I just don't see it happening.
I tell you, the night of the year you don't want to run into Arkansas is the make-believe game. Last year they beat Purdue, and this year they beat Kansas.
Yeah.
In the game that doesn't count.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. No, that's fascinating. I don't know. It's with Arkansas. I just don't know if they have enough healthy bodies. I mean, that's kind of my thing with Arkansas. Kansas, sort of just a lack of offensive firepower. So that's a fun, interesting, must-watch matchup. I just don't know if either of those teams are going to have the juice to get it done.
Mm-hmm. Drake, they've been a fun story all year long. 30-3 on the season. They bring in this Division II coach. He brings in a handful of his players from the D2 ranks. Can they pull an upset? What do you expect to see from them against Missouri?
Oh yeah, they're legit. I don't even know if they qualify as a Cinderella because they're so good. Yeah, they're a double-digit seed. Yes, they're from a mid-major conference, but when you have a coach who has won 4 national championships, I don't care what level it's at. You have to be regarded as a threat. And Missouri has limped down the stretch here. They're not playing their best ball. And so Drake's 100% a team. They're not even a sleeper because there's going to be so many people out there picking them. But they're the double-digit seed from that region that can make the most noise. But it's interesting, too, because you go up a little bit in that region. You also got Grand Canyon there. Grand Canyon's really come on strong under Bryce Drew. They have quality talent. I could see them beating Maryland, even though Maryland's really good. And then, Memphis and Colorado State. Interesting matchup, but, guys, I think Memphis should win that game. I just don't trust the Mountain West. The Mountain West has a reputation for flopping this time of year, and I'd be surprised if this is the year that changes.
I agree. I can tell you now, I'm going to have Memphis advancing, beating Colorado State.
Yeah. Oh, I hope you're all right. I've not decided on what I think of that game yet.
You want to give us your Final Four, Dave?
Yeah. What do you got?
It's preliminary. Okay. It's subject to change.
Lightly shaded pencil. We'll go with it.
It's a tad bit chalky. I don't have 4 number ones, but I got 2 seed Michigan State out of the South.
Okay.
I got one seed Florida out of the West, although that bracket's just going to be insane. Tennessee, guys, y'all know I'm not big on picking Tennessee this time of year, right? The track record of that program and the track record of their coach are not the best. But I do have Tennessee coming out of the Midwest, and then I've got Duke out of the East. So I would have 2 number ones and 2 number twos.
and 2 SEC teams, which would be a successful.
Is that a win for the SEC? 2 of 4 in San Antonio?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I think that's the Final Four is that finish line. And if you're able to cut down the nets at the end of it, then so be it. That's fantastic. But making the Final Four is like it's such a feather in your cap, a crown jewel for a league, for a coach, for a team. That it's almost like you go on to win the whole thing. It's almost just a bonus. The Final Four is a prize in and of itself. So if Tennessee were to get 2 there, or if the SEC were to get 2 there, yeah, without a doubt, that's a success.
Any team that on the first practice, the first workout last summer, it was win it all or bust. Wouldn't Final Four satisfy most?
A Final Four should satisfy most. Without that, UConn's the one who I'll say it's not enough for, right? Because Dan Hurley's just a sicko, and when you win 2 in a row, then you want to win 3 in a row.
With the coaching change, it might not have been enough for Coach K, but it is for Coach S.
Coach S.
Yes, although I will say when you have Cooper Flagg, and if he's healthy and he's the number 1 overall pick, like there will be some disappointment if they don't cut it down at the end. But I think you're right, Stats. I think the fact that it would be progress for John Shire makes it different. Whereas Coach K, you look at a season where they got Zion and R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish, and you're like, oh man, it's disappointing that they didn't win that national championship. With Shire making the Final Four in his third year as a coach, that would be a success.
Izzo wanting number 2, Kelvin Sampson. Just give me one.
I hope Jawan Roberts is fully healthy for Houston's sake, because they get hit with the injury bug every single time. Jamal Shed last year, they've had injuries in the past, and he's maybe their best player. Milo Zuzon and LJ Cryer are great guards who have come on strong for them, but in terms of the player who embodies Houston basketball the most, it's Jawan Roberts. And so, I hope he's 100% healthy and ready to go, because if he is, they've got a real shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Nate Oates saying anything short of the Final Four is a disappointment. So there's your coach that's Final Four or bust.
Bama, where legends are made.
That's right.
Well, if he's saying that, he must have a good idea that this testing on Grant Nelson's knee is going to be favorable, because, boy, if he's not available, that makes their path a lot harder.
Ooh, yeah, it would be difficult without him. David, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the ball over the weekend, and we'll talk to you again next Monday.
Okay, guys, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. David Cobb with us from CBS Sports, talking all things college basketball and during college football season, all things college football. And we love visiting with David. Hey, everybody, call it spring fever. Call it the fun of March. Yeah, all of that. Everybody's looking for something new to drive, and the place to go is All-Star Chevrolet right there in Olive Branch. They're loaded for truck month, and every Silverado you can imagine is right there on the lot at All-Star Chevrolet. Financing down to 2.9, up to $3,000 cash back for you. If you want a new 2500 HD Silverado, All-Star's got them with no payment for 90 days. Your good credit deserves it, and that's what you'll get at All-Star. If your budget is in the 20s or 30s, got to love all these affordable new All-Star Chevys. Price point for everyone. New Blazers, Equinox, new Colorado trucks. If you're law enforcement, a recent grad, educator, military, first responder, healthcare worker, instant extra $500 bonus back. Every certified Chevy and all the pre-owned you can imagine right there in one place at All-Star. Hyundais, Nissans, Toyotas, Sierras, Ram trucks, Ford trucks, Jeeps, tons of Silverados. They have them at All-Star. If you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star, and you'll get the most money back for it, whether you bought it at All-Star or not. Together, let's drive what we really want to drive in March and get it at All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch. For more information, go to allstarautogroup.com.
How about this real quickly before we get to a break? Sean texted in and said the new Crown tournament, you were asking about that, if we had a bracket for that yet, features 4 members from the Great Midwest Conference and CUSA. So you've got Cincinnati and DePaul from the Great Midwest, and then you have Tulane and UCF from CUSA.
Good note, Sean.
So a lot of familiarity
Thank you.
with the Tigers in the Crown tournament. Don't ask me who those teams are playing, because I could not tell you.
What about Missouri Valley?
Well, I couldn't tell you that. I've only seen the Crown bracket once, and I did not pay much attention to it. Let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the NCAA bracket more with our bracketologist, Shelby Mast. He joins us next.
protection, whether you're on the field or on the road, so make sure you have the best. Bob Simpson State Farm Insurance can buckle you up with auto insurance, can back you up with life and health insurance, cover your business whether it's starting, growing, or maturing, and don't forget to insure your home, no matter if you're an owner or a renter. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call Bob Simpson today at 901-381-1233 or go online and get a free quote at bobsimpson.org. Stay protected with your good neighbor, Bob Simpson.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. I have been told that my ads are all business and I should share some of my personality. Okay, I love tongue twisters, like the one about the terrific tasting toast by Taste Tester Toaster, or Big Black Bugs, Bleed Blue Blood, and of course Sally and her seashells. Or of course the ever-present I'm a mother pheasant plucker, I plug mother pheasants. Okay, enough of that. If you want an honest, fair, reasonable roofing, siding, or gutter estimate, call Five-Ash Roofing at 367-0050. That's exactly what you'll get. No empty promises, no high-pressure sales tactics, and no fast-talking salesman trying to convince you that today and only today is the best day for you to get a new roof. For the record, the best day to get a new roof is when you're ready for one. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
New showroom, less wait for service, and the greatest deals during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event at Gossett Hyundai South Mount Moriah. 2024 Hyundai Venue Limited, we Gossett 22,317. How about 2024 Hyundai Elantra Limited, we Gossett 24,997. 2025 Hyundai Elantra SEL Convenience 25,260. And 2024 Hyundai Sonata SEL Standard 26,353. Plus you get America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So don't miss the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event at Gossett Hyundai South, 2660 Mount Moriah. Online anytime, HyundaiMountMoriah.com. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
MSRP 25,160, Elantra RU 821,411, MSRP 28,780, Convenience SU 856,185, MSRP 27,020, Sonata RA 415,696, MSRP 29,110, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
This Rebel Young is back. The Rebel Young online radio show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Nancy Porter with 24/7 Sports. Your Ole Miss defensive captain Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC sports now, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Garvey from kickoff hours through up to extra innings. Your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Young online show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56 live 6 p.m. and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Watching traffic increase on all the major outbound routes. Pretty much on schedule over here where it's heavy on 240 east from Airways all the way out to 385. Billmore. Parkway's cranking it pretty good out towards Collierville. It's trying to build over here a little bit early on 40 east at Sycamore View Road all the way out past Germantown Parkway. Hey, if your lawn needs a little bit of help, call Lawn Solutions right now. They have 30 years experience and they are definitely affordable. Lawn Solutions, 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We've talked a ton about the bracket. Now we got to get the thoughts of our bracketologist, Shelby Mast from bracketwag.com. He joins us now. Shelby, thanks so much for joining us. Let's just start off with the bracket itself. What was your reaction to what the committee gave us last night?
Utter disgust. They didn't put time into it. They weren't consistent. I mean, North Carolina getting in with one quad one win. Well, that's why they left Indiana State out, because they had one quad one win last year. And you got Indiana and West Virginia that had better profiles and did not have any quad three losses, as did North Carolina. And this isn't coming from Duke fans. This is coming from a basketball fan.
Do you think most of your fellow bracketologists that you had the roundtable with last week, and y'all really, with Rocco Miller, with Kerry Miller, with bracket guy Dave Almond, so many of y'all, do you think the disgust is universal among bracketologists?
Absolutely. I mean, that's been the thing we've all been talking about today and last night. It was just like we're scratching our heads trying to figure out why we did it, and it came out today that Bubba Cunningham got a $100,000 bonus because Carolina got in.
He sure did.
That
$105,000. Yeah, that's real money in some places.
Sure is.
Shelby.
Yeah, it is. I hate to think that is a motivating factor, but I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, and I don't buy the whole, whether it's the football committee or the basketball committee or really any committee. Well, when your team comes up, I step out. You're still there, and your very presence on the committee is tantamount to lobbying for your team.
Very much so. I never wanted to believe that a team with that bad of a profile and that high profile of a position on the committee that would cause that much of a problem, but there was, and he had some explaining to do.
And I directly accused Hunter Yurchek, the athletics director at Arkansas, who was on the college football playoff committee, and I'm getting this from people inside the room on the committee. Bryant can attest that I was getting stuff from inside the committee, that I think he worked against some in the SEC last year, because there's no way he can go back to his big money boosters and even to his coaches and going, yeah, I really lobbied for this team in the SEC. Well, thanks, Coach. That makes us look really, or thanks, Hunter. That makes us look really bad.
Yeah, I mean, and another one, ACC-wise, that gets me. I had fans yesterday yelling at me on Twitter because I had Clemson 2 spots ahead of Louisville. Well, the committee has them 3.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
No. In the end, you had Memphis as a 6. I'm going to say early last week, around Tuesday, after we had you on Monday, you made the move to improving Memphis, and they ended up being a 5. Were you stunned at a 5?
Not completely, because all the teams around them in their area had lost early in their tournaments, so it was easier for me to see them move up. I was happy that they did, but they sent a bad message. The committee did. That team, the metrics didn't matter because they were 60 in Torvak.
I've said it and I've asked it a couple times. Is the net dead?
Something's got to be done to it, or at least let make the committee follow it more. Do it case by case. Yeah, you'll get rid of it. I'm fine with that too. If they're going to use all these other metrics, you don't need the net.
You mentioned West Virginia, and you also mentioned that the committee, in your opinion, just did not take enough time to fill out this bracket and look at these teams, and it just stuns me that West Virginia, who was left out, and their reasoning behind leaving them out was, well, one of their best players, Tucker DeVries, is out, and if you don't have your best player, you get dropped. Well, he's missed a lot of this season, missed some of the biggest wins that West Virginia had this season. I just do not think they took enough time looking at this West Virginia team.
No, I agree. That was a cop-out when I heard it. I mean, dropping a player, but due to injury, dropping the team due to a player injury, that's never really come into play. You vote them in or out based on what they've done during the season, and then you see them according to player availability.
Yeah.
So he was saying that West Virginia wasn't in at the beginning of the week, and I don't buy that.
Your last four in: San Diego State, Indiana, Vanderbilt, Xavier. 3 out of the 4 got in. Indiana did not. First 4 out: Texas in, Boise State out, North Carolina in, UC Irvine out. Make the case for Xavier. They were 1-9 against Quad 1.
Well, hey, Carolina got in at 112. So right. There you go. That one win of theirs was a road win at Marquette. Mm-hmm. That was better than anything that Carolina did. They had a 2-point win over UCLA.
Shelby, I can make the case for North Carolina over Xavier, and it's called the brand, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. In the Final Four with Hubert Davis even a few years ago. All the money they've made them. And when they released that bracket last night, they released a 3-week TV show in times that you have to get ratings to justify these rights fees. Give me North Carolina over Xavier anytime.
Yeah, and that's got to come into play. They did in past. They haven't been as blatantly obvious with things like this, but this one is.
I wouldn't mind it if they said it.
Yeah, I mean, we all know it. So
right.
Admit it.
Just speak to us like we're all adults.
Yep. When athletes admit what they did wrong, whatever it was, they get forgiven.
One of the bigger laughs I get every year, I printed my bracket at the official NCAA site with my fancy color printer. You like it, Brian?
I love it.
I got it running without having to tear anything down, too. And in the very fine print, it's got, March 15th, the NCAA Division I will select 8 teams, blah, blah, blah. And then the last sentence in the finest of fine print, the NCAA opposes all forms of sports betting. I printed your bracket to do the office pool.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, come on.
That's great. I love that. I didn't even notice that, but that is beautiful. Shelby, outside of who was in, who was out, one of the bigger, I guess a couple that I disagreed with in terms of seeding, but one of the big ones that I see a difference between you and the actual bracket was Drake. You had Drake as a 9 seed, a team that was 30-3 this season, playing really good basketball, and the committee goes out there and gives them an 11. I thought that was far too low for Drake.
Yeah, Drake probably appreciates where they're at now because it, on paper is a kind of easier path.
Sure, yeah, you get out of that 8-9 game.
Right. But if they had been an 8-9 game, 30-3, come on, that's a very impressive record. They were undefeated in Quad 1.
Yeah, crazy. One thing that I noticed, I know Brett and I have talked about it a little bit, a lot of people have been talking about today, it seems like they might have, compromised with teams a little bit. You see Louisville as an 8 seed.
A little back scratching.
Sure, seems a little low for Louisville being an 8, but they're playing in Lexington. Memphis, maybe a little high from some people. They get a 5 seed, a better seed than a lot of people thought, but they have to go all the way to Seattle. Did you see some of that where it's maybe, hey, we'll give you a better seed, but put you in a worse location, or we'll give you a little bit of a worse seed and put you in a better location?
They're not supposed to do that. You follow the integrity of the principles and procedures, so that is not supposed to come into play. I'm no longer going to be able to back the committee up and say when they say we don't do something. But the Louisville thing, it worked out for them, but now they're an 8-9 game.
Yeah,
they were better than that.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any qualms with pod sites? Anybody get something too cozy, or anybody get penalized too badly there?
No, I think the pods worked out pretty
I'm
good.
with you.
The regions was pretty good. It was balanced. That part of it was fine, but just it still irks me that at North Carolina. Ugh.
Do you think, or did you learn anything from this year that can really help you this year, or is it more mysterious? Did they make it harder for you?
Well, they did make it harder, but one thing we've learned is on championship week, the results stopped Thursday. Friday,
they
Saturday,
admitted
Sunday.
that.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan won the Big Ten, but they only got a 5 seed.
What, didn't they even say yesterday, I think it was next year's chair speaking for Bubba Cunningham, talk about like a lot of things were decided Friday night.
Yeah, and we've heard that, but there's instances where it's not. But usually, I mean, the teams are selected, the bracket is made Saturday night. They do have contingency brackets, but I would think that Michigan, Wisconsin, they're not going to flip flop, but that hurt Michigan a seed line.
Will it make you feel any better, Shelby, that I think you Dukies are going to be winning it all?
It does make me feel better, and I actually did not pick them.
Wow! Okay. So you're mad at North Carolina is not over your Duke fandom. I believe that too.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I do believe that.
And here's another interesting thing the committee did. I'll just throw this out there, and I'll stop. Seeds 13 through 16. They averaged the metrics and then slotted them according to where they averaged out. Exactly.
Oh, wow.
So they did nothing on those.
What was your final number of correct hits?
I got 66 of 68 with 50, or 62 right or exact or one off.
Wow.
And you're this mad?
Yeah, it's not a result that was that good to me.
Yeah.
You promised me you wouldn't cuss. You didn't even get close.
Nah.
Shelby, as always, thanks so much.
And we want to visit next week.
Yeah, we'll definitely catch up next week.
Yep. Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, Shelby.
Thanks, Shelby.
Shelby Mass from BracketWag.com with us, and that is about as irritated as he gets. And knowing him for all these years, he is. I don't have that trouble with North Carolina. I don't. I've expressed that before.
Sure.
And now that after and I did last night during text, I didn't want to argue with him during that. I wanted him to make his case.
Absolutely.
He's the guest. Let him talk. I don't have that big of a anger over it.
Nah, I mean, I've said it.
When you're
time
sending
and
them to
time
Dayton,
again.
there's no guarantee getting out of there.
No, but again, you're picking between a not so good North Carolina team, a not so great West Virginia team, a Indiana team that fired their head coach. I mean, was there really ever going to be a right answer?
I know many will. Should we? Okay, Texas wins. Told you they should have been in. Xavier beats Texas. Xavier should have, and same with North Carolina and San Diego State. Should we take too much from Dayton?
No.
Or anything at all?
No, I mean, it's a knockout game. And I mean, at the end of the day, look, I don't know if I think either Texas or Xavier should be in here. So, what's my argument going to be?
I want to get rid of Dayton.
If one wins.
Never happening.
No, it's only going to get bigger. But, no, I mean, I think you take those games for what they are and just let them play out. I mean, I go back to what I said. Everyone can be as mad as they want, screaming and shouting, blue in the face. But when those first 4 games start, everyone's going to forget about it.
It just
and we're
hit
gonna
me
watch
today.
basketball.
After all these years, Dayton does serve that purpose.
Oh, yeah.
That puts the fire out. It's time to play ball, clam up, get them next year. You had since November 4th.
Ball's in the air, and let's get down to it.
It really does. Shelby was with us on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line as all our guests join us. Sissy's Log Cabin, the official jeweler of the hometown teams, the Memphis Grizzlies and the Memphis Tigers, and they're big Memphis Tigers supporters and wish them so well on the road in the NCAA tournament. And they loved every bit of the festivities Saturday night at the Grizzlies game, honoring Tony Allen at all the Grizzlies games at FedEx Forum. You can go back to the floor seat lounge and look at those display cases and see all that beautiful jewelry on display at FedEx Forum from Sissy's Log Cabin, and you can sure see it in 9,000 square feet in Laurelwood at Poplar and Perkins with expanded lines for Rolex, Cartier, diamonds, and more. The Mid-South's largest selection of one-of-a-kind jewelry, engagement rings, necklaces, earrings, wedding bands for those special occasions, those times of your life. They offer a selection of diamonds, estate jewelry, and fine gifts, and they've done it since 1970 with all their great locations across the Mid-South. Unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and an extraordinary shopping experience, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgess. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in the 32-ounce jar. It's so good to base or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or in our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef. And she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet or steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meat. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper is more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with the perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at Rendezvous. They're online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it. A beloved family affair is still going strong since 1948. Rendezvous.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for a limited range time. Free gun rentals with purchase of ammo and members lounge access. Top Gun, 2770 Whitten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always ship with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
It's time to visit Mid-South Small Engines in 2645 Mount Moriah. Call 901-794-6400. Let's get serious about your lives. Step up to the best mower brand money can buy. Skag. For nearly 4 decades, Skag has been the easy choice for lawn care professionals. Don't settle for anything less than the best when it comes to mowing your lawns. There's sure to be a Skag mower that's perfect for your landscape business and Mid-South Small Engines. 2645 Mount Moriah, or call 901-794-6400.
I'm Sean Sewer with XMC Technologies, your local source for the best in office technology for over 30 years. We believe that being a technology partner means meeting our clients' needs as they change over time. That's why I'm happy to share that we are now Visual Edge IT. As cyber attacks continue to be a growing threat, our customers are asking for more cybersecurity and ransomware protection. For more information on how to protect your office, visit us at visualedgeit.com or call us locally 901-737-8910.
Air. We breathe it naturally. Simple, right? Not so fast. The air you breathe could be hazardous to your health. Don't guess. Be sure with a phone call to the Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South. Call the Memphis Mold Inspector to check the air quality inside your home and office. Protect babies, pets, new homes, old homes, employees, friends, loved ones, and you. Just call 901-292-7788 for clean air and peace of mind. 901-292 stand for the Memphis Mold Inspector.
March is known for its madness, but this year the madness means money for Sports 56 listeners. Sport 56 and 98.5 FM will be giving away $98.50 a day for as long as the University of Memphis is alive in the NCAA basketball tournament. That's right, when the Tigers win, more listeners win. Every time the Tigers advance, more Sports 56 listeners will be putting cash in their pocket. Listen to the Sports 56 morning, Happy Hour, and Sports Time once the brackets are announced. As long as the Tigers are in the tournament, one of the shows will be giving away $98.50 each day. Once the Tigers are out, the cash is out too. So we're on the Tigers. Keep winning and keep listening to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM for your chance to win some of that cash. The Sports 56 and 98.5 FM Tiger Cash Giveaway is brought to you by Mid-South Small Engines, Memphis Mold Inspector, Valve Equipment, and Buster's Butcher, Buster's Liquors.
Sports Time on Sports 56 and 95 FM. Once again, Brett Rosary and Ryan Davis.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, I have two big numbers today. They both go together, and they're both Tiger related. And before I give you my big number,
I'm kind of the same thing.
Okay, I hope this might be the
Tiger
day
related.
we get the same big number. I don't know, but I will
No
say.
chance.
Okay, good. I will say, though, that Brett, we only got about an hour and 7
Clock's
minutes
ticking.
left. I mean, we do not have much
Cash
time
hadn't been
left.
handed out.
Tiger Cash giveaway for this Monday afternoon has not been given away, so stay tuned if you are unfamiliar with the Tiger Cash giveaway. As long as the Tigers are alive in the NCAA tournament, right here on Sports 56, we'll be giving away $98.50 each day on either Sports 56 mornings, happy hour, or sports time. So you got to listen all day. You never know when that money's going to be handed out. So make sure you're tuned in, and then you can win $98.50. Again, those sponsors, Mid-South Small Engines, Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold inspector in the Mid-South, Cobb Equipment, and Buster's Butcher and Buster's Liquor. Well, my first big number today is the number 5. Memphis received a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament last night. That is the highest seed Memphis has received since 2009 when they were a number 2 seed and made it to the Sweet 16. 2011, they were a 12 seed. 2012, they were an 8. 2013, a 6. 2014, an 8. 2022, a 9. And 2023, an 8 seed. So really good for the Tigers. And speaking of 8, that takes me to my second big number, Tiger related. Today, the final AP poll for college basketball, at least before the NCAA tournament, came out, and the University of Memphis is one of 8 teams to finish the season in the top 25 in both football and basketball. They join Tennessee, who finished number 9 in football, number 6 in basketball. Alabama, 17 in football, 7 in basketball. Oregon, 3 in football, 25 in basketball. BYU, 13 in football, 17 in basketball. Clemson, 14 in football, 12 in basketball. Iowa State, 15 in football and 15 in basketball. Missouri, 22 in football and 23 in basketball. And Memphis, 24 in football, 16 in basketball. Goes to that point of the great year that Memphis Athletics has had with football and basketball. I mean, it is incredible to finish both seasons in the top 25. Only 8 teams did it this year, and Tigers one of them.
Well, that's a list of luminaries. Mm-hmm. Do you, and we may get it in a break, do you have a list all time of how many other times the Tigers have been a 5?
I could find it while you're giving your big number.
You got my big number is 229. Coach Penny Hardaway has been the head coach of the Tigers for 229 games. His record is 162 and 67. 162 wins, 67 losses. Wow. After 229 games as head coach of the Tigers, Josh Pastner was 161 and 168. Or 68. 161 and 68. So Penny is now 1 ahead.
Whoa.
After 230, Coach Pastner was 162 and 68. If Penny loses, they'll be tied.
Holy cow.
If he wins, he'll be 1 ahead.
Holy cow. Wow. That is incredible.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a good nugget.
And other than really in the early part of his tenure, Penny had really never been ahead of Josh. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know if he did that early, but it had to be real early because I've been watching after however many games and comparing them.
Wow.
He is now ahead.
Yeah, it's a really good nugget. I don't know if I want to give you these numbers for 5 seeds because it hadn't been great.
Because I'm thinking that was Drexel, wasn't it?
Only 2 other times has Memphis been a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. 1989, they were a 5 seed against DePaul. They lost that game
in South Bend
by 3. And then in 1996, they were a 5 seed against Drexel.
I thought that.
Also lost that game.
I didn't have it in front of me, but I thought that.
Yeah, so 0-2 when being a 5 seed. So you buck that trend this year. How about that?
Sure can.
You definitely can. But again, another reminder, Tiger Cash giveaway. We're about to start our third and final hour, so make sure you're listening to this next hour, and you'll have that opportunity to win $98.50. We're doing it every single day that the Tigers are still alive in the NCAA tournament. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up this hour. When we return, we're talking Grizzlies with DeMichael Cole.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square for the Tigers and all your March Madness games. Fun, exciting, friendly, comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs, 24 taps for all your favorite beers. Happy hour 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. The Music Bingo Tuesday, upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, online ordering, and you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. Highway 70. Check Facebook for weekend music at the Owner's Box.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com. Whether you need to do work on 1 acre or keep up 1,000 acres, Calv Equipment has the equipment for you. For large landowners, Calv Equipment has Coyote tractors and all the implements to get your job done. For commercial cutters and you large homeowners that want the best commercial, zero-turn, stand-on, or walk-behind mowers, Calv has Exmark and Toro commercial mowers along with Red Max and Echo commercial blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws. If you have land to work, Calv Equipment has the tools for you. Visit Calv Equipment, 4900 Old Summer Road, 1 block north of Summer and Mendenhall.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Plus finance through KFA, K4, SCO 87712, MSRP 25320, K5, S53 28285, MSRP 28455, Telluride, SG 596204, MSRP 41060, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license with approved credit, dealer stock only, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 4/2/25.
Hey, I tracked down my buddy Jeff Allen over at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah. Hey, what's up, brother?
We're ready to rock over here, Randy. 2025 Kia K4 LXS, $159 a month with class-leading torque and fuel efficiency. 2025 Kia K5 GT Line, $199 a month. And a 2025 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive with more power, larger cargo area, and more ground clearance than a Nissan Pathfinder, $398 a month. All $49.99 due at signing, 24-month lease.
Plus, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So if you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
That's Gossett Kia South, 2680 Mount Moriah, online anytime, KiaMountMoriah.com.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It seems to have gotten busy already over here on 240 East from Mill Branch all the way out to 385 Bill Morris Parkway as you head on out towards Collierville. Coming out of Midtown, it's typical right now. This time of the afternoon, 240 South at South Parkway. Watching it build I-40 West here at Danny Thomas across the I-40 bridge over into West Memphis. If your lawn needs a little bit of help, call Lawn Solutions right now. These guys are absolutely the best. They're affordable. Call Lawn Solutions at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is Original Sports Station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Once again,
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us now to talk the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal, DeMichael Cole. He joins us now. DeMichael, thanks so much for joining us. A lot to get to with the Grizzlies, but I want to start with the scenes from Saturday night. Tony Allen gets his jerseys raised to the rafters. What was that like from pregame all the way to postgame when that banner finally went up?
Man, it was a great experience, but I thought it was very authentic. I thought it was kind of how you expect a Tony Allen jersey retirement to go. It was different, which his playing style was different, right? It was selfless. You think about all the times. He did the dirty work. He did a lot so Zebo, Mark Gasol, Mike Conley could shine. And on his jersey retirement night, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen someone go around and highlight every single person that was on the stage with him. Like, every teammate that was up there, he had a story. His family, he talked about his mom, his sisters, his brother. Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah, who he never played, with, so to speak. But, he took the time out to highlight everyone. Some people get into those long speeches and they say, I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet and things like that. Nah, not Tony Allen. Yeah, so it was very authentic. And, I mean, it was great all around just to see everybody come together and celebrate. And I thought Eric Spoelstra said it well when he talked about, it shows that you don't got to go chasing all the fancy stats in the YouTube highlights and trying to be this scorer. That's not the only way to get your flowers at the end of the day. Tony Allen did it a different way, and you could tell that he's just as appreciated as some of the others.
The Grizzlies really did it well, and they do bigger with the big stuff or the small stuff. They do it so well. And DeMichael, I was talking with someone last week about it, and I said I can remember when we before the Grizzlies got here, there was life and there was sports and there was sports talk. I wouldn't change it for anything. The idea of not having the Grizzlies in this community is now so foreign to all of us, especially younger people. It's all they know. But even to older people, and I looked around that building Saturday night, and it was a really good age mix and all kind of composition of the crowd. And also for the Grizzlies, what people need to remember, never mind the player payroll account. If you just overnight took out the business side, the marketing side, all the mouths that feeds, all the mortgages that pays, all the property taxes and other taxes it pays, you can never convince me, and nobody's trying to, but the Grizzlies really matter.
Yeah. I mean, and I like the fact that when you tie it into to Tony Allen, like he helped form that identity that the Grizzlies, became known for, right? The grit and grind, and how it was so synonymous with the city. It felt right. But I think before that, before 2010, it was trying to figure out the Grizzlies' identity, right? Like what the organization was going to stand for. You had some really good teams before that. They didn't have much playoff success, but you had some teams that won some games. But when Tony Allen and Zach Randolph and Mike Conley and Mark Gasol formed that core for, and went on all those playoff runs and won, as an 8 seed, over a 1 and things like that. Like it was a very meaningful moment, and it's still, it's still important today.
And I thought it was just top shelf classy for Rudy Gay to be here, because there was a time that Rudy Gay was probably going to be the leader of whatever core, whether it was 3 or 4 or 5. He was going to be at the top of that class. I thought some of the criticism in basically chasing him out of here, making a deal happen by some was wrong then and wrong now. In my defense of him then, there are very few people on earth that can average 19 points a game in an NBA game.
Yeah, look, Rudy was. I remember, I was pretty young in those days, but I was a basketball hoop head for sure. And when we were at school, that's all everybody used to talk about, Rudy Gay. Like he was the, I look at it like how in Memphis now all the kids are always, everywhere we go, they're like, Ja. For us, it was Rudy. And, the grit and grind era was, it was doing the dirty work, right? And as Tony Allen said, we weren't really glitzy and glamoury and things like that. But Rudy was. Rudy had the flash. He had the highlight dunk, the buzzer-beating shots, the fadeaway jumper. Like, he had that ability. And, early on, I mean, it felt like he was going to be the face of the franchise, the guy that you could kind of rally around. And I always thought it was kind of so telling that after, Rudy left, the big thing for the Grizzlies was always that other wing spot. It was always, you knew Mike Conley, Tony Allen, Zebo and Mark Gasol would be starting, but just the revolving door, that position became, afterwards, it just makes you think, what could have been in a way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was a lot of fun Saturday night. Even seeing like Quincy Pondexter there, I was like, oh man, Q-Pond. That made my night. Definitely a lot of fun. Getting to the actual games over the weekend, you had 2 games, a 9-point loss against the Cavaliers, and then you get the blowout game that I think a lot of people have been waiting to see from this Grizzlies team, a 125-91 win over Miami. What did you take away from both of those games?
The Miami game was what people have been waiting to see is the Grizzlies kind of put it together on both ends of the ball. Offensively, they played strong, and defensively, they looked better. And that had kind of been a problem. You go back to the game against Cleveland, it looked like shredded cheese against that Grizzlies defense. They were getting whatever they want, however they want it. And, the defense has been a big question mark in the second half of the season for the Grizzlies, and it's weird saying that because that hasn't really been a thing, under Taylor Jenkins. They've had stretches, but it's always been small sample sizes, and it always reverts back to the mean. But this one's been a long stretch where they haven't just looked great defensively, so that's why that Cleveland game was important, and it's just going to be, intriguing to see how that carries over this next stretch of games here where you got to play against, some strong offenses over this road trip.
To Michael, Cleveland to do that Friday night without Donovan Mitchell. I have taken, if it's NBA Final between Cleveland and Oklahoma City, I'm taking Cleveland.
Ooh, I'm going with OKC. I understand.
I'm alone. Nobody's with me.
I understand. Look. I don't like betting against stats. I mean, you know what you're talking about for sure. But I think Cleveland is worthy of that recognition. But I think it's just the small things, where those two teams are a little bit different. Like I think with Cleveland, they do have the 2 small guards. And, that used to be a bigger problem. It's less of a problem now because, they've learned how to pretty much defend while, funneling everything to Evan Mobley and Jared Allen and letting them clean up everything. But if you look at how Josh scored against Cleveland, like I remember thinking, like, I don't really know if he would have had that type of night against Oklahoma City's defense because they have bigger defenders and they have the size, that Cleveland has on the back. So I like both teams. I think OKC is very good on both ends, but Cleveland, I mean, they don't lose much, and that's because they're very consistent. And it felt like every time the Grizzlies made a mistake, they were making them pay.
Mm-hmm. Well, getting ready for this game tonight against Sacramento, Grizzlies PR put out the status report last night, and John Morant again on the status report, this time out with a left hamstring soreness. What do you make of this injury and John missing another game?
Let's see a few. Cause this one. I mean, we haven't heard much, yet. So it's kind of like popped up, and I'm sure, in Sacramento, there's going to be, kind of a little bit more detail explained on what happened there. But, it just goes to the bigger question: like, can the Grizzlies trust the fact that John Morant we talk about, the goal is to get to the Western Conference Finals or the second round or the NBA Finals, whatever the goal is, can you trust that John Morant will be available throughout that stretch? We haven't seen him play more than 6 games in a row at this point of the season. And, a playoff series, you're talking about second round Western Conference Finals, more than likely it's going to be 6-7 games. So, it's a question mark for sure, but it's also the hamstring. It's just something you want to be careful with, especially this time of the year. You don't want to aggravate it and it turns into something serious because we're in middle of March now. Now a little 2-3 week injury is something where we're asking the question, is a guy going to be ready for the playoffs? Mm-hmm. And you don't want that to happen. So I'm guessing that they're kind of going to, it's one of those things where, you feel some soreness. You want to kind of err on the side of caution because you don't want it to turn into a thing where, you're pushing to get Ja back for the playoffs and having to deal with that.
Not necessarily who, but how many wins do you think it's going to take to be in the 2 spot?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. And I think the Grizzlies right now have 14 games left. I say 10-4 over that stretch. So basically that would be 53 wins for the season. That would be 53-29. I think that potentially gets you there. Now, if you look at the schedule, not really going to be easy because I'm looking at the schedule right now, and I say 10-4, and I'll give you you go to the Kings tonight, then you got to go to the Clippers, you got to go to OKC, you get the Lakers and Celtics and the Warriors at home back to back to back, and then towards the end of the season, you go to Denver. So between those games, which is 7 games that I just named, 7 toss-up games. You gotta go, I say 4-3 in those games, and then you probably will have you got a home game against the Timberwolves in there, and some other games where you're it's possible. You got to go to Detroit. To Detroit is not it's not one that you just check off anymore. So it's possible that they could get to 10-4, but I think 10-4 is the ideal number because the other thing. It's not just going 10-4; it's who you have to beat. Denver is at this point. If the standings are going to stand like this, Denver's a must-win game for the Grizzlies because that's going to be a tiebreaker game. They play them 3 times this season, and they're 1-1 right now. So when they play later on this season, that's going to be the tiebreaker game, and they'll play the Lakers again. Of course, you want to win that one, but they have to finish ahead of the Lakers in the standings because the Lakers have a better Western Conference record. And if the Grizzlies win that game against the Lakers, it'll tie the season series 2-2, and the Lakers will still have the better Western Conference record, more than likely. I think the Lakers are 3-4 games up on the Grizzlies in Western Conference standings. So it's more likely for the Grizzlies just to finish with a better record than them. So for all those things to happen, I think you're looking at a roughly 10-4 slate.
And then here comes Houston again, 6 wins in a row, right there in the mix for the 2 seed.
Man, I never thought they were going to go too far. Houston's really good, and they've been missing Freddie VanVleet's injury really hurt them, and that's kind of their general, right? And defensively, they're so good, they're solid. They have real good depth defensively. It was only a matter of time before they kind of right the ship. Their record early this season was really good against some of the top teams, which is a testament to you being a team that could beat those teams. So they went through their hardships. Injuries happen and things like that. But yeah, I think Denver's going to. I mean, not Denver. Excuse me. Houston's going to have something to say. About that 2 spot at the end of the day. But the Grizzlies, I mean, as we know, they don't have the tiebreaker over them, so you just got to finish it with a better record.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Michael Cole, he joins us every Monday to talk the Grizzlies. Go read his work over at the Commercial Appeal. Walk me through, explain to me the decision to send G.G. Jackson down to the hustle.
Well, simply put, I think it's centered around a lot of different things. You want G.G. Jackson to play better defense. That's something they want out of him. You want him to get reps. Needs more reps. And then just you have other guys who've kind of been stepping up, lately. The defense is the main concern right now. Offensively, the Grizzlies are scoring the basketball, and G.G. Jackson has not been one of the Grizzlies' best. He has not been one of the best, players on the defensive end for them. And so, Taylor Jenkins has pointed that out, a few times, in a nice way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what it boils down to. It has nothing to do with scoring. It has nothing to do with ability. They want him to be a better defender. And right now, with Lamar Stevens stepping up, with the other guys that they have, they don't really need his scoring right now as much, at least not in the way that they want to use him. I think that's a big part of it.
Were you surprised to see that, or did you kind of see that coming?
No, I wasn't surprised. It's
message
being
sent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's something that we saw this happen with Zaire.
Yep.
Before as well, but G.G. Jackson's role's just been slowly diminishing, and even with the injuries, right? He was starting the games, but one of those starts he played 17 minutes. He played into the third quarter, and I think it was the Cleveland game. If I'm not, it was before the Cleveland game. It was in the win. He played 17 minutes and didn't play in the fourth quarter because he had made some mistakes, and Taylor Jenkins basically, turned away from him. So yeah, that's kind of, part of it. It boils down to defense. They've kind of been, on him about that. So, I think this has kind of been boiling up for a minute.
Yeah. DeMichael, your Tennessee Volunteers, they get a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament.
David Cobb's got them in the Final Four.
He sure does. How far do you have them going?
Woo! Guys, so I haven't completed my brackets yet. I gotta do a good thorough breakdown. But I tell you what, this Tennessee team, for better or worse, doesn't look much different than some of the other teams that we've had in recent years. From the standpoint of the identity is still centered around defense. We have a couple guys that we're going to rely on. Most nights to do the scoring. And our three-point shooting is very hit or miss, and it's a lot of miss. I think, Brett, I was talking to you about this. When we think about what wins in the NCAA tournament, I have a formula, and I rely on it every year, and it usually gets me somewhere close to the champion. Whoever wins the NCAA tournament, you throw the stats out the window. It's always a team with there's a veteran lead guard. Teams aren't winning just with a young guard too many times. There are anomalies, but usually there's a veteran lead guard. There's a reliable guy that you can go to in the post, and you're solid on both ends. Solid on both ends, veteran in the post. Do we have that post presence? We got the veteran guard. We got good wings, but so I have some questions. But I think we could. I think Elite Eight, Sweet 16 is reasonable. If we get to the Final Four, I mean, I thought last year's teams was the Final Four team, and I mean they almost were. But this team to me isn't as explosive offensively as last year. But I think Elite Eight would be a really good finish for Tennessee. Even though I know everybody wants more, though. We've been knocking on the door since I was in college, since 2018 and 2019.
Are you a one bracket guy?
Oh no. I'm gonna.
You flood the zone, huh?
I don't overdo it. I do like 3 brackets every year.
There you go. I think that's a good number.
My first bracket is always what I expect to happen. That's the one where I'm picking the games or I'm breaking them down. My second bracket is what I want to happen. That's you could probably guess I'm going to pick Tennessee to win the championship in that one. That's the one that it's what I want to happen. It's the best stories in college basketball, like McNeese State. I want to see them go on the run.
So in that bracket, you have Tennessee playing the Tigers.
You're bringing up stuff that I don't want to talk about. You're gonna get me in trouble.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah. So, and then my third one is more of like, the numbers, or more of like the numbers. I would say, like, I'm usually gonna lean into, okay, who's the hottest teams and things like that. So it's basically a second version of my first one. But my first one is like what I actually think. It's like my predictions, and then the second one is filled with upset, what I want to happen and things like that. So usually my first one is the one that gets the closest, but the second one is the one that I show people, when it's like a 14 seed beats a 3 seed. I'm like, I knew it. I knew it. So,
called it.
So that's how I play it off.
Well, it sounds like you have work to do, so we'll let you go
Thank you,
so you
Michael.
can get to your bracket as always.
And we know you got work tonight.
Yeah, you're a busy night for you. We'll do it again next Monday.
All right, take care, guys. I'll see you.
You got it.
Michael.
Thank you.
Michael Cole joining us every single Monday to talk Grizzlies, and every once in a while talk about his Tennessee Volunteers. I would love, we talked about it earlier, I would love a Tennessee-Houston Elite Eight matchup. I mean, that would be electric. If you like defenses, sign me up for that matchup. I think that would be a lot of fun. Well, before we get to a break, let me remind you about our great 5 o'clock sponsors. It's Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, and the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to jaguarbluffcity.com, but head out there, test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince, for Bluff City Jaguar. Let's get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk about what's trending.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ. Whether you need to do work on 1 acre or keep up 1,000 acres, Calv Equipment has the equipment for you. For large landowners, Calv Equipment has Coyote tractors and all the implements to get your job done. For commercial cutters and you large homeowners that want the best commercial, zero-turn, stand-on, or walk-behind mowers, Calv has Exmark and Toro commercial mowers along with Red Max and Echo commercial blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws. If you have land to work, Calv Equipment has the tools for you. Visit Calv Equipment, 4900 Old Summer Road, 1 block north of Summer and Mendenhall.
Hey Mid-South, get ready for your next adventure during the Mitsubishi Motors Spring Sales Event at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage. Read Gossett, $199 a month or buy for $16,605. Gets 43 MPG. Need more room? Take your pick from 2024 Outlander plug-in hybrid PHEV or 2024 Outlander. Just $399 a month. And listen up, because all remaining new 2024 Gossett Mitsubishis are now $2,000 off MSRP. Plus, you always get peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get ready for your next adventure during the Mitsubishi Motors Spring Sales Event at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
MSRP 18605, PHEV RZO 59821, MSRP 489, Outlander RZO 67325, MSRP 33210, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
All aboard, football fans! The Memphis Showboats are back in action with more of the football you love. Join the Showboats at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium March 30th for the opening weekend of the 2025 UFL season as the Boats take on the Michigan Panthers. Kickoff is 11 a.m. Head to UFLShowboats.com now to get your tickets and get more of the touchdown celebrating, high-fiving, bell-ringing action you love. That's UFLShowboats.com. Go Boats!
For meat lovers, there's only one name you need to know: Buster's Push. And discover why there's nothing like it in Memphis. We offer a curated selection of premium, exotic, farm-raised animals, dry aged to develop, steaks and sausages, and every big size. We have everything you need for your next meal. Plus, local special items include digestive mixture, bridges or seasoned flat spreads and standard different cuts, recipes, and more. Visit Buster's Push and see why every cut counts.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's really starting to build now on all the major outbound routes, especially I-40 East over here around Sycamore View Road as you make that drive out past Germantown Parkway into Fayette County on 40 going eastbound. Yes, it's busy on 240 getting on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway headed out towards Collierville. If your yard needs a little bit of help this time of the year, call the professionals. That would be Lawn Solutions. That telephone number 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we got about 30 minutes left in today's show. We got to talk about what's trending, and really the only thing trending today is March Madness. The bracket is in front of us, and
copying machines are taking a workout this week.
Well, and I haven't been able to not look at it. Every time I look down at my bracket, what you pointed out earlier, the fact that at the very bottom it says the NCAA opposes all forms of sports betting.
Isn't that awfully highbrow of them?
When the only reason people are looking at this bracket is for pools,
it helps,
and all of this stuff. I mean, it's
fantasy football was one of the drivers of getting the work stoppage win in the NFL. It was over fantasy football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You get back in there and play.
Yeah. I mean, insane.
Was it the year they tried replacement players? It was one of those that it was a big driver of it.
That's crazy. So DeMichael just said he fills out 3. How many brackets do you fill out?
Just one for me.
Okay.
Just one. That's the only one where I can remember.
Sure.
Where I remember what I'm trying to keep up with. I've been in every pool and draft and pot you can think of, back to I'm sorry. Back to 10th grade, a good friend of mine.
Start 'em off early.
A good friend of mine a year earlier, and he had a great idea, and we did it for a long time. And this good friend of mine, he passed 2 years ago, and we were talking about it at his service because everybody you would put in, started out, 10th grade, $5,
sure,
which was a lot of money. $5. We would get 16 of us, and you just draw a team out of a hat.
Wow!
And that was your team, one winner. Well, that 5 turned into 10, and then it turned into 50. And one year, maybe a year UConn won it. Maybe the year UConn won it the first time. We could only get 14 people, maybe, or 15. So I bought 2 teams. I had both teams in the finals. He said, "That's it. I'm not messing with it anymore." He said, "You won too much from this."
I've never heard of that, but I like that. The kind of get 16
Sweet 16
together and just draw a team. I really like that. I might have to try to set that up this year.
And I've been in the draft where you get paid by the round by the seed. And one year I had Coppin State winning as a 15. And it kind of won the whole pot for me.
Wow.
And I've had years I didn't win a penny.
Sure. I don't know. Obviously, we do the one up here, at the station. I don't know outside of that if I've ever been in a kind of pay for bracket anything.
But you said you had real good luck one year online.
1 year online, just ESPN, just by myself, made a bracket. It was one of those years Gonzaga made it to the national championship. I think I was like top 1,000 on ESPN.
Out of 8 million?
Yeah, however many. So it was really good. It was a really good year, but was not in any sort of pool or anything where I could reap the benefits of that. It was just, hey, congratulations, you were good this year, and I could kind of brag about it after the fact, but nothing. I'm sure I'll be in one this year. I've been offered a couple that I've turned down already. I'm sure I'll be in one pay-for bracket outside of the office pool.
Brian, off air, you knew about the whole story. I didn't know the travails of South Alabama.
Oh, my gosh.
And the day that they had, and I'm reading the story, in reading the story at ESPN.com, it tells the whole story, and it gets to the last paragraph, and it says the Jaguars finished the season 21-11 and lost in the conference tournament semifinals to Arkansas. Well, that's the Sun Belt. They lost to Arkansas State. Major, it's no big deal. We all make mistakes. Who should have caught that, an editor or the writer?
An editor, for sure. I mean, writer probably should have caught it, but look, people make mistakes. This was one of those, just a staff guy, hey, write a quick story about South Alabama, get it up on the website. An editor should have caught that before it ultimately went up onto the website.
Tough day made worse, losing to Arkansas in the Sun
How
Belt
about
semis.
that? Wow, Arkansas playing in 2 conference tournaments. No, that story was crazy. Obviously, the NCAA tournament is done. CBI had already started giving out bids because they really kind of knew who they would be getting earlier in the week. And so CBI bracket comes out some point Sunday, I believe. And UC Riverside is in the CBI bracket. Well, UC Riverside puts out on all their social media pages, on the website, everything. Hey, we're going to the CBI. Get excited. More UC Riverside basketball. Well, then last night, the NIT bracket comes out, and no ESPN show for the NIT bracket reveal this year like we've had in previous years. Bracket comes out. They post on social media last night super late at like 8:30 or 9, and UC Riverside is also in the NIT. And so people are going, can't play in both brackets. So I believe, from my understanding, is the NIT saw that and said, we got to get somebody to replace UC Riverside because they've already accepted a bid to the CBI. And so they went out and said, hey, South Alabama, we need somebody quick. You good to go? South Alabama said, absolutely, we're good to go. Well, then UC Riverside called them and said, hey, we want to be a part of the NIT. And they said, sorry, South Alabama, we'll see ya. And that's my understanding, at least, of the story. But yeah, very weird and just kind of another kind of, there is what the NIT is.
Are you seeing,
like that.
Breaking in the last hour or so, Deion Sanders wanting to play a spring game against another team, Syracuse?
Yeah, I definitely, I saw that, and I think even got some response from Syracuse people of kind of, hey, yeah, we would love it. Let's set it up. And Fran Brown, the head coach at Syracuse, quote tweeted it and said, "We will come to Boulder for 3 days." So, I mean, obviously something that would be way out there, but I don't, we've kind of talked about it. I'd love that. That'd be
I like
awesome.
the idea.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea. Now, will it happen? Probably not, but it'd be cool if it did.
Can't imagine a quarterback being exposed to be splattered and hit in a game.
No. I mean, I guess you can get around that. Try to have those rules in place, but you let one guy go AWOL and things could get really ugly. So
sure could.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know about that. But Brett. Oh my gosh. You know what time it is?
It's time.
It's time. Tiger Cash giveaway right now. We're gonna do trivia for it. And caught you off guard, Landon. I think you're a little surprised there. I try to catch the listeners off guard. I mean, you never know when it's going to come. Get ready. We're going to do a trivia question. So text your answer, and we're going to do text line.
All on the text line.
901-360-8255. Again, text your answer in. Brett has the trivia question. Go ahead, Brett. Take it away.
Coach Penny Hardaway, as a player for the Memphis Tigers, his first NCAA tournament win, who was it against? NCAA tournament win, who was it against?
As a player, Penny Hardaway, who was that win against? Text in to the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line, 901-360-8255 with the answer. The winner, $98.50. So make sure you get that in, and we'll see those as they're coming in, and we'll read those, and we'll figure out who we got one texter, Temple is their guess. Not Temple. No Temple. All right. So if you're trying to eliminate all the 300 and some odd teams, you can eliminate Temple, I guess.
It was in Milwaukee.
Western Kentucky.
That was his last NCAA tournament game, and that was a loss.
All right. Wow.
In Orlando, his future home with the Magic.
Colorado State.
No, that's not Colorado State.
Not Colorado State. Wouldn't that be funny if it was Colorado State, who Memphis will see right now? I mean, keep them coming in. I mean, who was it? The team that Penny Hardaway beat in his first tournament game? Marquette. No Marquette. Purdue. No Purdue. Come on, people. What are we doing? $98.50 on the line.
1992 in Milwaukee led to the game against Arkansas.
Okay, keep those texts coming. We still don't have a winner yet. Again, if you can get that right answer, $98.50, you will be the winner. Pepperdine. Bingo!
Ding, 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 ding.
Pepperdine is the answer. We have the winner. You'll be getting a text
We were
back.
talking about it last week, remember?
We were. We absolutely were. We were getting ready for this. All of this work was done last week for this trivia question. So now we have our winner.
The Thursday answer's already been given today.
Really? Okay.
You just don't know the question.
All right. Tune in. Keep tuning in all week. Obviously, opportunity. If you didn't win today, and the text messages just flooding in right now with various different answers. Thank you so much for being a part of this, participating in this. Stay tuned. If you didn't win today, you still have plenty of time to win, and keep on rooting on the Tigers, because as long as the Tigers are alive in the NCAA tournament, we will give away $98.50 each day on either Sports 56 Mornings, Happy Hour, or Sports Time. Obviously, today it was Sports Time. Don't know when it will be tomorrow. You got to tune in all day to get that. Obviously, our sponsors, got to thank them again. Mid-South Small Engine, Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold inspector in the Mid-South, Call of Equipment, and Buster's Butcher and Buster's Liquor. So again, congratulations to our winner. I wanted real quickly, before we got to a break, talk a little bit about the Grizzlies. I know we did it with the Michael Cole, but a game tonight against the Sacramento Kings, and another game where Ja Morant out with a different injury than what we saw him out with most recently. You know, I want to see, if we get some information about it tonight.
They got to give it to us. This is when they need to be forthcoming. Mm-hmm. Don't let us fill in the blanks.
No.
Don't let us make idiots of ourselves, not with speculation. That's people are going to do that. Mm-hmm. Tell us.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things.
Grizzlies do so many things so well. Do this.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's just, you see them out, and it's, very it's almost become kind of common this year to see him out too common, see him out this year. And so I think this is the time, with how much he's been out this year, this is the time to put out all the information you can about what's going on with him, because I think that would calm people down. Because DeMichael Cole just said it, and we talked about it a couple weeks ago with one of the injuries where he was out, and the question was asked in media, all right, he has not played 5 straight games all season long. How are you confident that he will be able to go in the playoff series and be able to go night in and night out when the lights are the brightest? And Taylor Jenkins kind of said, yeah, no, we have confidence in him. We know that when it's go time, he'll be ready to go. But then we continue to see those injuries pop up and him missing games. And so I do think this is the time where you need to be very out front and really, I mean, give as much as you can about what's going on and what that injury looks like.
I applaud the G.G. Jackson move. This is a good time in his career, and at the point they are with him in his career, to send a message and want him to get it.
Yeah, and so, you know, he's a really young guy. He's on a really good contract. And it's a guy who's flashed. He's shown what he can do at the NBA level. And so, you know, I think this is a good time where, you know, you've got guys to fill that role. Hey, you know, let's get you down there to the G League. Kind of give him that checklist of here are the things we want to see out of you. Here are the things we want you to work on, and, you know, see how he goes about it. And for him, this is where it's going to be hard. I mean, this is a guy that obviously started in the G League last year after being picked in the second round and was able to get up with the Grizzlies because of the injuries, and obviously started the season this year with injuries. You know, this mentally for GG, he's got to go down there, have the right attitude, you know, realize that, you know, they're doing this because they see a bright future in him and see him being a part of this, but need him to work on some things, and hopefully we'll see that.
Yeah, for a guy with some defensive struggles, the G League's not the best place to work out defensive stuff, but just go down there and adhere to what we're trying to instruct you to do.
Yeah, no, you're right. So we'll see how it plays out, and you know, I'll be excited. I'll be paying attention to the hustle and seeing what he does down there. But we'll definitely have our eyes on the Grizzlies tonight when they play the Sacramento Kings. Well, let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day, and when we return, we're out for today's show with Crunch Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Sports 56 and
971-5199. You know, if I had a nickel for every time somebody has recognized me as the spokesperson for Central Barbecue, one of the spokespeople, I wouldn't have a nickel because we do these for the radio. But I'm proud to be the spokesperson for Central Barbecue. You know what I mean? I'm proud because all of us who do this have had to do ads for things we didn't necessarily believe in.
Yeah, I know I have.
I know you have too.
Hey.
But we get to tell everyone about Central Barbecue, the best barbecue in Memphis.
In the world.
The first ever preseason pool spa and patio event is going on now at Family Leisure. First time ever. With unbelievable savings. You want a pool? They're starting at just $19.99.
how about a spa? They're starting at just $29.99. Patio furniture sets are starting at $7.99. Cold plunges and swim spas are just, well, I can't even say those prices. But I will say, they're priced to move. There are so many deals going on right now during the first ever preseason pool spa and patio event. You've got to come in and see the savings for yourself. But wait, there's more. You can register to win either a free pool, a spa, or a patio set. Yes, a free pool, spa, or patio set. Just stop by Family Leisure to sign up. This is a first time ever pre-season pool, spa, patio event. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, when you loaded I-40. Family and fun come together.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five-Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
We are ready to meet anyone on your new Hyundai from Gossett Hyundai on the Pike during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Plus, you get America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Listen to this, Mid-South 2024 Hyundai Venue Limited. We Gossett 22,317. How about 2024 Hyundai Elantra Limited? We Gossett 24,997. 2025 Hyundai Elantra SEL Convenience 25,260. And 2024 Hyundai Sonata SEL Standard 26,353. This is what deals are made of at Gossett Hyundai 1870 Covington Pike. Online, HyundaiGossett.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
MSRP 25,160. Elantra RU 821,411. MSRP 28,780. Convenience SU 856,185. MSRP 27,020. Sonata RA 415,696. MSRP 29,110. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
March is known for its madness, but this year the madness means money for Sports 56 listeners. Sports 56 FM will be giving away $98.50 a day for as long as the University of Memphis stays alive in the NCAA basketball tournament. That's right, when the Tigers win, more listeners win. Every time the Tigers advance, more Sports 56 listeners will be putting cash in their pocket. Listen to the Sports 56 morning, at Hill, and Sports Time once the brackets are announced. As long as the Tigers are in the tournament, one of the shows is giving away $98.50 each day. Once the Tigers are out, the cash is out too. So we're on the Tigers. Keep winning and keep listening to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM for your chance to win some of that cash. The Sports 56 and 98.5 FM Tiger Cash giveaway is brought to you by Mid-South Small Engine, Memphis Road Inspector, Valve Equipment, and Buster's Butcher, Buster's Liquor.
Pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Well, Brett, before I get to what I learned today, we threw out a trivia question to the listeners. Now, a trivia question thrown right back at you. The winner of our trivia of the Tiger Cash giveaway for today, he wants to know, do you remember who Pepperdine's star was in that game?
Doug Christie.
Whoa! Just like that.
We were scared to death of him.
Really?
And I'm gonna say he had about 20 or so. Penny had a good game. Yeah, it was big time stars against each other.
Doug Christie.
Arkansas beat Murray State, and the Tigers beat Pepperdine to set up the Saturday afternoon game. And Tigers won.
I'm glad he asked you. I certainly would not have known that well before my time, but wow, Doug Christie. How about that? Well, what I learned today is that the Major League Baseball season starts tomorrow morning, 5:10 our time in Tokyo. Dodgers and Cubs. Look, I don't really love this, going overseas and playing 2 weeks early.
I know why they're doing it.
Yeah, I know why they're doing it. Whatever, cool. I'm still going to watch it.
Baseball does a lot worse things than this.
100%. I will be watching it. I will not watch it live. I will record it and watch it later. But I will have my eyes on tomorrow's game and Wednesday's game. And, they'll come back to the States and they'll have real records beside their names. So that will be weird, but it will be fun to see these two teams. The Dodgers obviously looking to defend what they won last year with the World Series, and the Cubs, the team the Cardinals will face a lot this year. And I believe, if I remember correctly, the Athlon magazine that you got, it really liked the Cubs. So we'll see.
First place.
Yeah, wow.
Standings upside down. Cardinals last, Cubs first.
Crazy.
What I learned, common sense prevailed. The bracket, I think, is right. I like where the Tigers are. I think the SEC should have gotten 14. I think Indiana should have been left out. North Carolina, okay. I'm okay by that. Not as incensed as some. I think mostly a good job by the committee.
Yeah, nothing I was too upset about. I already talked about some of the things I probably would have done differently, but at the end of the day, I think it was a fine bracket, especially, all the complaining about the last four teams in. Again, one of the worst bubbles I've ever seen. Just put some teams in there and let's roll the ball out and get to the hoops. What I could have done without today, it was the news earlier this morning that Iona has parted ways with Tobin Anderson. You might remember Tobin Anderson.
He got left nothing.
Oh, man, just ridiculous. He was the head coach for FDU when they pulled the upset over Purdue, then took the head coaching job at Iona after Rick Pitino left for St. John's, and now fired after just 2 seasons. Like you said, was left nothing when Rick Pitino left, had to completely rebuild that team, and then this year made the MAAC championship game, had an opportunity to go to the big dance, got beat in that championship game, and now without a job. I just don't understand that decision. Was one of the best Division II head coaches before taking the FDU job. I really don't understand a school like Iona cutting ties with a coach after just 2 years.
Yeah, I can't imagine the NIL budget being very big.
No.
I could have done without Grizzlies. Please don't start this with the injuries. Let's be healthy one time, have one good run where we can see what we really have. And if you want to go forward or make a bunch of deals or, tear everything up, the 2 through 5 is going to be a wild ride in the West.
Yeah, no, that West is no joke. I think any team that makes it out of that, whoever is the West representative in the Final Four, you deserved it. You went through a gauntlet to get to that Final Four. Where are you beaming tonight?
Sacramento for Grizzlies against the Kings. 33-33 Kings now in the play-in. They won't drop out, but they can't really move up. So I hope they have a half-hearted effort tonight. Sacramento leads all-time 58-50 over the Grizzlies. They're 1-1 this year tonight from Golden One Center. Is this a Channel 5 game?
No, it's not.
Dang.
No.
I hadn't been able to catch one yet.
I do not. I could be wrong. I do not think this is a Channel 5 game. Beam me to...
I bet not that late.
Yeah, no, very late for one of those. Beam me to this late-night ESPN game, Nuggets-Warriors on ESPN. I think a really fun matchup. Don't look now. Golden State Warriors, 7 wins in a row, 9-1 in their last 10. They have been red hot since Jimmy
It's almost
Butler.
like the league wanted to make sure they were good.
That's right, yeah. Give him Jimmy Butler. That's how you become
10 NBA
really,
games
really
tonight.
good.
We'll be watching Denver at Golden State, San Antonio at Crypto against the Lakers.
Yeah, going to be a fun night of NBA. Enjoy all of the action. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a moving that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Hey everybody, call it spring fever, call it March bracket time, yeah, all of that. Everybody is looking for something new to drive. All-Star Chevy right here in Olive Branch is loaded up for truck month, and every Silverado you want is here with financing down to 2.9, up to $3,000 cash for you. Hey, if you want to